Welcome to Chicago, and just outside in Joliet, Illinois, we're here at the Chicagoland Speedway for the Rigshare FUEL Cup Series, race number 2. Last week we raced at Daytona, and we had a spectacular event, a huge field, and we're ready to go again here at the Chicagoland Speedway this evening. My name is Kyle Heyer. I am one of the guys here from SimTV. Unfortunately, I will be flying solo tonight, as Finian Dacuna is off doing an EMT volunteering thing for school, so he will not be here this evening. I am a little bit under the weather as well. I had 103-degree fever this morning, so I will try to do my best and keep everybody up to date on what is going on the racetrack. But right now, if we look down on the racetrack, we are in qualifying, and tonight we're running a little bit different format than we did last week. We are doing obviously it's a 40-car field, and this week, instead of doing heats where the top 19 get in and of each heat, and then we have the front 2 go straight to the feature, it's 32 straight to the feature, and the last 8 spots will be contested in a 6-lap last chance race. So really qualifying is where we're going to have to keep an eye on everybody right here. But Gabriel Perry in that 13 car already at the top of the board again, and Timothy Johnson in the 28 up in second, and Dwayne Culberson very strong last week in that number 1 car. He is currently sitting in third. But out on track right now, we'll keep an eye on who's out there, and the 16 out of Adam Jersky is one of them, but it looks like he's actually cooling down. But Jack Ritchie in the 72, he's got fuel on that car this week, and up against the Brandt logos there on the back straightaway. An interesting thing here, curved back straightaway. It's not really straight. This is as close as a circle as you can get on the NASCAR circuit. So here this evening, it's going to be a little bit of a unique challenge for these drivers to make sure that they're, especially when you're in these big fields, you don't get stuck too far behind with your visibility impeded. So interesting racetrack here this evening. Now let's go over this race here this evening. This FUEL Rigshare Cup Series is sponsored by Rigshare LLC out of Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Rigshare offers a wide variety of crypto mining services, including hosting, equipment sales, and consulting. Also, the race sponsor today is the CJAutoPA.com 200, and CJ Automotive is based in Pen Argyl, Pennsylvania, and they're ready to serve you with their selection of quality used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Visit their website at www.cjautopa.com. All right, so a couple recaps here we got to go over. Dwayne Culberson bested Mike Kelly by 0.04 of a second to win the first duel last week. Rhett McBride won by just over 500ths in that second duel, obviously a little bit less contested. And Tim Johnson, Dwayne Culberson, and Gabriel Perry led much of the early portion of last week's race, but Rick Thompson held on to win the Sim Marketing Solutions 250 last week at Daytona in spectacular fashion. And again, new format this week, 32 cars straight from qualifying will go right into the main feature. And everyone who fails to get into the top 32 will go into the last place dash to fill out the 40-car field. 8 drivers will advance. Again, that race is 6 laps. There will be a 2-minute break. And looking ahead, next week we visit Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. We got a short track racing at the half mile. And a couple other notable things. We got the new build next week for iRacing, and the repaved Michigan Speedway will be used in the FUEL Rigshare Cup Series and the FUEL IndyCar Series later this season. and we will begin using the Chevrolet Camaro as an approved car in the Fuel Cup Series at Road America on September 4th. So a couple exciting things coming up in that category, but out on track here now, not a whole lot of people out there. Greg Evans in the 7 is actually, he's cooling down himself, so it looks like he is packing it up. But again, right now, looking at our cut line, looks like David Leclerc in the 50 is the last car in right now, that number 50 car. Dan Barone in the 25 is the first man out. Then Casey Campbell, Fred Thompson, Mark Nobert, who I don't believe raced last week. He is currently out on track in a Marlboro number 16. DJ Allen in the number 9, currently not on track yet. Or he has gone out on track, but did not lay down a time he's probably super impressed with. But Andrew Cardinale running in 32nd now, so that's going to bump David Leclerc down to the 33rd spot. We do have 40 cars in the session, so as of now, everyone would still make the field, and it would just be a matter of setting up the grid and not necessarily booting anybody because of too many cars entered. So again, a full field of 40 cars here this week. Another exciting week, and after a track like Daytona, at the beginning of a league, you tend to get large fields, but the fact that we're still running with a full 40-car grid at a place like Chicago tells me that we're doing just fine. So Andrew Cardinale on racetrack right now, and he just shut the engine off for his downshifting. He's got a little bit of right front damage there to that number 45 car, but he'll pull that Ford Fusion back into the pits. And it looks like everybody seems to be pretty satisfied with their qualifying time. Haven't seen anybody start to go run out there again. So as it stands, Andrew in that number 45 is the last man in. David Leclerc, Dan Barone, Casey Campbell, Fred Thompson, Mark Nobert, DJ Allen, Brandon Minto, and Ethan Kurds are the last guys out, and they will be competing in that last chance qualifier should everything stay as it is now. Yeah, like I mentioned, very under the weather here this evening. Pounded some acetaminophen trying to get this fever to go away. So it looks like I should be able to make it through the race here this evening. But again, running solo tonight, something that we've kind of had to get used to more and more as our schedules change around here at Sim TV. But tonight we're looking forward to this race. It's going to be a good one for sure. Chicagoland Speedway offers a very unique challenge for these drivers, especially if you see the turns 3 and 4 there. You can see the rubbered line in. Kind of rubbered in that low to middle groove, and we're probably not going to see a whole lot of high side action today, but I think on restarts, especially when everybody's bunched up on old tires, I think that outside line could be somewhere to pass other drivers, so we'll have to keep an eye on that and the way the lines change throughout this race. But an abrasive surface, those tire wear is going to be something to talk about, and once you get on those old tires, it's going to be very slippery, and drivers are going to have to be extremely careful not to spin these cars out, especially on restarts. So we got about a minute and a half left in qualifying here, and I don't see anybody else that's going to bite the bullet and go back out. Or it looks like everybody has taken a time except for the 20 of Brandon Minto and the 05 of Ethan Kurtz. Those drivers have not taken time. Ethan Kurtz is sitting there at pit road exit in that flip switch 05 Camry, and we have yet to see him get out there, so he might be waiting to try to get a lap in the final moments here, but he's going to have to get going relatively soon if he wants to make a lap. And I don't think he's going to be able to get himself around, so that's going to be it for the 05 of Ethan Kurtz. So he will be one of the drivers in that last chance qualifier. Again, that'll be 8 drivers because there are 40 that are entered here this week, and all 8 of them will be moving on to the feature. It's more of just setting the grid now, and that's it. That's really in case we get too many drivers, which is certainly a possibility with the people entered on this roster. But Rhett McBride in the number 8 car is going to be at the top of the board. Gabriel Perry in 2nd. Timothy Johnston in 3rd. Nick Cohan in 4th in the number 21 machine. There he is sitting there on pit lane. Running CJAutoPennsylvania.com, running on that vehicle today. And then Dwayne Culberson in the 1, Greg Evans in the 7. Eric Brundy's in the 94, Mike Kelly in the 2, Adam Jersky in the 69, and Brady Briggs in the 24. That is your top 10. And a couple other notables, Will Roberts in the number 96, currently sitting 19th as the checkered flag flies for qualifying. And we're going to move on to our last chance qualifier here. And David Leclerc will be the one starting on the point for this race. Only 6 laps. It's going to really just be a sprint to the finish here just to set the running order. But as you can see, Leclerc and that bright teal number 50 Camry will be starting on pole. Then that's the 25 of Dan Barone to his outside. Then Fred Thompson, Casey Campbell, if I didn't mention him, Mark Nobert, DJ Allen, Brandon Minto, not gridding just yet. Haven't seen him on track at all, but the 05 of Ethan Kurtz will jump on the grid. So that 20 car, I don't know if he's having issues or not, but looks like he is not going to make it on the grid, at least not yet. And looking from high above, so 6 laps here. This is going to be a short one. Should take about 3 minutes, should everything go smoothly. But we will turn these guys loose to set the remainder of the field. And remember, next week we're going to Bristol Motor Speedway, and we're going from really one of the largest tracks on the circuit to an average-sized track to a short track. So we're kind of stepping down the size of the track here. Then we go road racing at Road America here in a couple weeks, and that is going to certainly be a race to watch. Lots of high speeds, lots of tight corners, be working on the brakes, and road racing, something unfortunately we at SimTV are going to be missing the Watkins Glen race later this season, obviously, from being from upstate New York. Watkins Glen, my favorite racetrack, so upset we'll be missing that. But Road America certainly going to be a spectacular race to watch. But here tonight at Chicago, we're going 1.5 mile cookie cutter racing, but there's not really anything cookie cutter about Chicagoland with that curved back straightaway. Kind of reminds me of Kansas a little bit, but in recent years, the 1.5 mile races have gotten pretty dang good at Kansas and Chicago. So especially in the Monster Energy Cup Series this year, the finish between Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch, that'll be one for the history books. But looks like the pace car is going to roll off here shortly. And the field will begin to move, and that 50 of David Leclerc is starting on point. He's carrying an onboard camera here tonight. And I want to thank Finian, even with a tight schedule today and taking care of a sick me, he was still able to get the camera file set up for me. So we got some pretty awesome cameras here tonight. And we're going to work our way onto the back straightaway. 7 cars going to be in the running for this. And we're going to make our way towards turns 3 and 4. That Ford FR500 pace car is going to pull off. We're going to turn them loose for 6 laps to decide the rest of the field and the running order they will be in for tonight's CJ Auto PA 200. And David Leclerc is chomping at the bit there in that number 50 right on the rear end of the pace car. He wants to go for sure. And just waiting on that pace car to drop off the field. And there it goes. Hard left. Very hard left. And green flag is in the air here at Chicago for 6 laps to decide the starting order for the last remaining spots in tonight's race. And Leclerc shoots out of a cannon. He is gone already. Side by side for second. That's Dan Barone on the outside of Casey Campbell. But behind him... Oh, look at that. The 05 of Ethan Kurtz down to the bottom. And that's the 16 of Mark Nobert that he was underneath there. But now the 05 is going for another spot. That was underneath the 73 of Casey Campbell. He is on the move, and we got Fred Thompson back here in that bright red 46 KFC, Ford Fusion. And he is on the move. Look at the 9 of DJ Allen driving way up to the wall. He's going to be in the wall. Bounces off, and he's going to spin. Can he hang on to it? No, he's going to loop it. And that will be a disappointment for DJ Allen, that number 9 Husqvarna Chevy SS. He'll get it righted, and that'll probably be it for him. But meanwhile, David Leclerc out front, leading now by 0.7 of a second over Ethan Kurtz, who has come from last to second, and very quickly moving forward in that flip switch 05. Then we have Dan Barone, and then behind him, Mark Nobert trying to hold off the 73 of Casey Campbell. But the 73 has gone backwards pretty quick here. Not something we expected to see, but already side by side now, again heading into turn 3. Sorry about that. It's had a little technical difficulty there, but Ethan Kurtz has taken the lead away from the number 50 of David Leclerc. And one thing I was mentioning, well, my microphone was not functioning there, was as he takes the checkered flag here, and he'll be starting 33rd tonight. He was running all the way down on that apron there on the front straightaway, and that can be unsettling to the car on old tires, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But again, apologize for the issues there. This last chance qualifier is over, and we have a nice 2-minute break until we get started here for the CJ Auto PA 200 here at Chicagoland Speedway. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, I think I got everything sorted out here. So we're right now looking at the 7 of Greg Evans, and we have just about a minute left in this warm-up. This is really just to pad the process here. Michael England in the 15 is going to go to the top of the board for now, but this is just as quick as this started. It's going to end, and we're going to set them loose tonight at Chicagoland Speedway. A full grid of cars. Field size is phenomenal, and I got to commend Will Roberts on setting everything up as well as he has. This FUEL Rigshare Cup Series has been very successful so far, and as we head to short tracks and road courses, I expect the action to continue as it did last week at Daytona. Spectacular heat racing, especially that first heat. But the winner, I think it was a couple thousandths of a second. I'll double check the fact on there. Yeah, 4 1,000ths of a second was the difference in the first heat last week, and the second heat was about 500. So very close racing. Only one caution in a 60-lap race at Daytona. Pretty spectacular feat, even though there was that last lap accident there that took out a bunch of drivers. But for the most part, spectacular driving, and it has made it for a very entertaining show. So stick with us. Don't go anywhere. We are just about to start the CJ Auto PA 200. And with that, warm-up will conclude. And we're going to set everybody up on the grid. Starting first in the number 8 car is Rhett McBride alongside Gabriel Perry in the number 13. And Perry's in a Camry, McBride's in a Chevy SS. Up on pole. And McBride, obviously very quick last week as well, but look at the size of that field. And then starting in row 2, Timothy Johnston in the 28 and Nick Cohan in the 21, 3rd and 4th respectively, both in Camrys here this week. Moving on to row 3, that's Dwayne Culberson in the 1, very quick last week at Daytona. Greg Evans in the number 7. Eric Brundy's in the number 94, and Mike Kelly in the 2. Kelly was another driver that was very quick in his heat race at Daytona. We didn't see quite as much out of him in the race as maybe we expected based on the heat. But then you got Adam Jersky and Brady Briggs in row 5 there in 9th and 10th. Scott Simley and Tim Silliman in the 68 and 6th and 11th and 12th respectively, both in Fusions. Look at all those race cars. Enormous field here. Jake Douglas and Gail Brooks in 13th and 14th. Brad Collins and Travis McQuisition. I cannot say that name. Every time I try to say that name, Travis M. Every time I try it. Travis McQuisition. I think that's how you go with it there. Look down on Chicagoland Speedway and see that enormous field of 40 cars. Well, actually, it's 39. DJ Allen bringing up the rear of the field here. But certainly a spectacular showing for just the second race in this league season. As we make our way down the back straightaway now. Brian Blisson at 18 took a pretty hard crash at the end of the race last week, but Jackson Roblard at the 98, he's up here and ready to go racing. Norman Pelletier in the 56 and Jack Ritchie in the 72. And 23rd and 24th. We're not even going to get through the grid before we go green. That's how many cars are here in the field tonight. 134 laps at Chicagoland to decide who wins round 2 of this season. Next week we go to Bristol, but this week we're racing in Illinois and turning them loose on a 1.5-mile racetrack for the first time this season. Pace car pulls off, and green flag is in the air here at Chicagoland. Three and 4 wide through turns 1 and 2. I believe Evan Adams was in the middle of all that. And the number 59, there he is. Field now trying to get spread out as quickly as possible, and Evan Adams, and oh, we got crash off of the front straightaway here. Trying to figure out who is involved in it. And looks like it's going to be Justin Rodden in the 27 is going to be involved. We'll have to go back and take a quick look at what caused this. No caution. Oh, just bounced off the wall and collected the 88 of Tyler Dulgar, and looks like they're both going to get away with a little bit of damage, but no spin, so we're going to keep it green. Out up front, we have a battle for the lead already. Rhett McBride's got Gabriel Perry breathing down his neck through turns 1 and 2. Off of turn 2, now down the back straightaway. Pretty well single filed out. Oh, we got another one sideways. I believe that's the 23. If I could get another view of that. Caution is out. And we're going to have to take a look at what caused that wreck. But it was the 23 of Aaron Henderson. And he's got a little bit of damage to that. Yeah, a little bit of rear damage to that. We got another one on the front straightaway that's all spun out. All right, let's take a look at what caused this. There was lots of chaos here early, but... All right, here's the 23 of Aaron Henderson. Maybe we'll look from above and see what caused it. Oh, drives off into the corner, gets in the back of the 67, and Brad Collins then just gets nudged just a little bit and almost hangs onto it, but spins and then, ooh, collects another driver. Didn't quite see who that was, but oh, a couple others barrel in there at the last second. Just a couple car accident here. We got to see exactly what driver that was caught up. Was it the 15? Was the 15 of Michael England. And he's going to have some significant right side damage to that car. And the toe might be knocked out of that thing, but caution out here early at Chicago. And we're on pit lane already. And waiting for drivers to make some pit stops, but looks like out up front, we're not going to have anybody making any stops. Rhett McBride, Gabriel Perry, Timothy Johnston all staying out, but we got a couple of guys on pit road. Looks like Rick Thompson's going to be one of them. Will Roberts on pit lane, as well as and Aaron Henderson fixing that crash damage. Jackson Roblar to the 98 and others. Brian Bliss. Brad Collins was another driver that pit, as well as Gail Brooks in the 71. 22 of Jake Douglas, and looks like that's the 50 right there. So early drama here at Chicago, but a couple incidents, but they were pretty small, so we're still going to have the majority of the field out here running by a very large margin. And already the battle was heating up between Rhett McBride and Gabriel Perry for that top spot, with the 28 of Timothy Johnson breathing down the neck of those front two, and Nick Cohan, of course, right there in the catbird seat should anything go wrong. But as we complete lap 5 and head to lap 6 here of 134, this is kind of a long race. We're expecting pit stops around lap 40, 45. That's really when the green flag stop strategy will start to pan out. But for now, looks like the front drivers will stick out. And anybody that was really 20th on back really should have pit, because there's nothing to lose right now this early in the race. You might as well throw some fresh Goodyears on and get back out there and try to make up any spots that you can. The tire degradation, the way the tire model works, it is very important to have on a fresh set of slicks here, no matter what lap it is. and how many laps the other drivers have on their tires. So I certainly would have done what some of these other drivers did and gone down and gotten some fresh stickers here early. Pace cars rolling through turns 3 and 4 now. We'll check in with the 05 of Ethan Kurtz, and it looks like Ethan's got some damage. The hood is a little crumpled up there in the right front, but flew through the small field we had in the last chance qualifier and won that and moved himself up into 33rd, but obviously struggling with some damage here involved in one of those incidents. And we just got the 1 to green. So we'll be going back racing here at the end of this lap. And Rhett McBride and Gabriel Perry will be lined up side by side. We'll see what lane the number 8 chooses. Looks like he's going to go for the outside lane, which is an interesting strategy. If you look at where the line is rubbered in from all the practice and qualifying that these guys did, it's a little bit more towards the bottom of the racetrack. So I'm a little bit... I'm not questioning Rhett's decision here, but I do think it is interesting for sure. We'll have to see how the restarts pan out later in this event. Working our way down the back straightaway now. No retirements. Everybody that started the race is still out on track with damage or without. 39 cars started the race and 39 cars are running. And the Ford FR 500 pace car is going to pull off again here coming out of turn 4 and will resume after completing 7 laps of 134 here at Chicago. Rhett McBride in control on the outside lane with Nick Cohan right there. Green flag back in the air here at Chicagoland. Oh, we got 3 wide back here a little bit in the pack. And that's Brian Bliss there, obviously involved in that last lap incident last week at Daytona. Look at the 22 sliding up in front of, I believe that was Evan Adams. Cars everywhere right now. Everyone trying to get as much space as they can. There's Aaron Henderson in the middle of another gaggle. Oh, looks like the 9 car way out of control. That's DJ Allen in the 35th spot. Oh, we got more trouble. And the 59 of Evan Adams is going to spin, but he'll keep it going straight somehow. And there's just too much chaos right now to really get a good view of everything. But let's go back and take a quick look at what caused this. Just out of control on the straightaway, and the 05 just kind of follows him through. But excellent drifting skills there for the 59 and the 05, and they'll continue. Out up front, we have a battle for the lead. Look at this pack down the back straightaway now. Rhett McBride leaves Gabriel Perry by just over 1/10 of a second down into turn 3 now. Nick Cohan has fallen back just a little bit. And slides up in front of Dwayne Culberson there in the 5th spot. But Culberson's going to be trying to make that move on the outside, but can't really go anywhere with it. And now we have the 13 diving to the inside of the 8 of Rhett McBride through turns 1 and 2, but can't quite get alongside. He's going to use a little bit of the draft down the back straightaway. Not super strong here at them 1.5 milers, but definitely can use it if you need it. Side by side for the lead now, Gabriel Perry to the inside. It looks like this is starting to turn into a case of what we saw in the Hardline Cup Series last Friday. And that race was at Kentucky. And we saw a lot of people struggling to make passes because everyone's tires were fresh. Well, once the tires start wearing out, I can guarantee you're going to start to see some differencing in strategy. Look at Nick Cohan all the way up the racetrack trying to use that outside lane to his advantage. And now we have Perry again trying to get by, but here comes Timothy Johnson in the 28. To his outside. This is not the only place where battles are happening on the racetrack. Back in 15th and 16th, we have battles all over the racetrack. David Leclerc and Calvin Filarski That is for 20th. But the battle for the lead right now is aggressive. And we just completed 13 laps, so we got a long way to go, guys. It's just about the 10% mark, and these guys, the patience has not really come out of the woodwork just yet. And look at Tim Silliman just cleared a pack of cars here. That's Brady Briggs and Travis McQuistion behind that we're just battling it out through 1 and 2 and through 3 and 4. Oh, look out! The 24 almost gets turned there by the number 93, and he'll hold on to it, and it looks like the 98 of Robillard in the Southwest Fusion just got into the wall. Battle for the lead again. Still, they're not giving up just yet. And here comes the 7 of Greg Evans. One of the drivers that took a while to lay down a time in practice and qualifying. But here he is now running third with the 28 of Timothy Johnson right on his bumper. Out of turn 2 once again. And Perry just can't seem to get a good enough run on the bottom lane to make a move on McBride. And now Perry's got the 7 of Evans to the outside now, and he can't really do anything to defend that other than jump up in front of him. That's what he did. Side by side for second now. And this is allowing McBride to get a little bit of a cushion over the 13 and the 7. While this is going on, we have an intense battle back for 14th and 15th. That's Jackson Robillard and the number 98. The 67 of Brad Collins, the 24 of Brady Briggs, and the 71 of Gale Brooks all involved in this battle. Oh, caution on the racetrack once again. Trouble. And it's the 45, Andrew Cardinale. And he has spun around on the back straightaway. So that is our second yellow here on lap 19. And we'll jump back, take a look at what caused this. Already had some damage from an earlier incident, so we'll watch him out of turn 2 here. Coming up oh, the 50 was way out of control, and it looks like, was he just trying to brake and just lost control there? And spins down to the inside through the grass. And didn't tear up the splitter too bad through the dirt and the mud there, but he'll get himself rolling. And we'll continue on. Let's get another look at this from a slightly different angle here. So he was just out of control, slowing up for the slower traffic and narrowly missed drilling the 50 of David Leclerc. But Andrew Cardinale not starting off this week like he wanted to. All right, we got leaders on pit lane. And it's the 8 of McBride, Perry, Johnston, and others. The whole group, everyone on pit lane this time. It's a very busy place down there on pit road, and we'll see who comes out first. And it looks like the 13, the 7, and the 28 are going to beat the 8 car out of pit road, and that's going to shuffle things up significantly. A very slow pit stop for the 8 of Rhett McBride, and that's going to hurt him. He's going to lose 3 spots on this pit cycle. And as hard as Perry was working, I'm sure he is clapping his hands for his pit crew right now. And went from really second or third to first under that pit cycle. So we're 20 laps in here for the CJ Auto PA 200 at Chicagoland Speedway for the FUEL Rigshare Cup Series. Been lots of action here early in the going, and a little bit of carnage from a couple drivers, but the most recent being the 45 Andrew Cardinal spinning down the back straightaway. Evan Adams also involved in a spin, but he kept it going straight. And again, I apologize, I'm a little more quiet than I would normally be. We had a 103-degree fever earlier today, so not feeling the best right now, just trying to do my best, and obviously missing Finian is not helping either. So tonight, kind of a struggle here on the SimTV side of things. So Gabriel Perry will inherit the lead in that number 13 car. And we got a couple wave rounds in front of him here to take over. A couple updates we got to mention is DJ Allen in that number 9 car started dead last due to his spin and crash in the last chance qualifier. Got the backup car out. Here he is running 27th early in the going here. Not bad. And moving his way forward. Field is going to double up now. We're going to turn him loose. We've completed 22 laps. And I'm amazed at actually how few incidents we've had, considering we've had 2, 3, 4 wide on the initial and restarts. And that's a very tricky thing to do successfully with any league or any session. So far, so good. Been pretty impressive. Again, the field size here, absolutely enormous. Let's look from high above down the back straightaway. That is a big field of cars here in iRacing. Always happy to see a league doing so well. So through turns 3 and 4 now, Gabriel Perry. Let's see what lane he elects to be in. Looks like he's also going to choose that outside lane, just like Rhett McBride did, except McBride now lined up on the outside of row 2. And through turns 3 and 4, Pace car's going to jerk himself left here, and green flag back in the air, and Gabriel Perry's going to get a nice jump on the field, leading him back to the green, lap 23. Oh, caution instantly. And, oh, we got a bunch of them wadded up in the towards the rear here. That's Aaron Henderson. That's the 9 of DJ Allen. We were just saying how good of a start to the race he was having, but we went right back to green and then back to yellow instantly. Let's see what caused this. Wow. Just saw a little preview there. 9 of DJ Allen. Oh, just gets loose on acceleration. And Jackson Roblard's caught up in it, the 46, the 50, and others. Oh, that's just not a fun way to tear up race cars on restarts like this. Riding on board with the 50 of David Leclerc. You see the 9 car out of control, and there's not really... Thought he has this all cleared, and then boom, he gets broadsided by the 46 car of Fred Thompson. And that is going to be significant damage for the number 50 of Leclerc. Well, things were going well, and now the progress has slowed just a little bit. And it looks like we do have our first retirement, and that is going to be Scott Simley in the 68. We haven't really mentioned him yet tonight, but that will be it for him. And then Justin Rodden in the 27, the Red Bull car, torn up pretty good here as well as Evan Adams. He's back out on track, but 2 laps down after his early spin and pit stop. Fred Thompson in the 46, some significant rear damage to that car, as well as Connor Welsh in the 35. Some pretty bad right front damage to that car as well. Toe must be knocked out of it here. So lap 25 of 134. We started off pretty nicely, but have since worked our way to the 3rd caution of the evening. Out up front, Gabriel Perry in the 13. And Greg Evans in the 7 are leading the race right now. But as we mentioned earlier, the tire strategy here, you want to make the tires last as long as possible just so that you're not on pit road as much. But the problem is that they wear out so quickly. They only have about 2 or 3 laps of good in them before the advantage starts to wear out. So as you see the 13 car moving out of the way for Evan Adams, who is going to get 1 lap back here. The problem with these guys right now is that I don't really think we've gotten enough into a run that the tires really were allowed to wear out enough so that the passing is easier. We've had the field running so close together on fresh tires that it's hard for anyone to get separated, and that's why we're seeing the incidents that we're seeing. I think once we get spread out, I think it'll help everybody's situation. Nick Cohan in that 21 car dropped back a couple spots through the pit cycle and a little bit on the green flag situation here. So he is in that CJ Auto PA Toyota. He has slipped back to 8th. I want to thank you again for subscribing here to Sim TV. I wanted to just mention a couple things that are going on here the next couple days. Tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we have a special race. It is a Skip Barber League that is running 35 laps at the Indianapolis Oval. And it's their championship race. They will be going live tomorrow night, 9 p.m. here on Sim TV. That's going to be a fun one for sure. Thursday night is Ferrari Challenge. We're back with them at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and then Friday night we have the Hardline Cup Series. Saturday we have the D4SP qualifying night for the Drive for Suicide Prevention 250. That will be on Monday night, and then of course Sunday night we have road racing Circuit of the Americas for the 3-wide Nathan Young Designs Truck Series. So a busy week ahead. And if you're like watching this kind of thing and you're a part of FUEL or any other league that works with us, you'll be sure to check out those other events because they are always good races that all these groups put on. And especially that 3-wide truck series on a road course. That'll be fun to watch. And I think Skip Barber's running 5-wide at Indianapolis. Sounds like a pretty appealing use of my time as well, so we're looking forward to doing that. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time here on Sim TV. Of course, next Tuesday, we will be back here again with the Rigshare Fuel Cup Series at Bristol Motor Speedway, half-mile short track in Bristol, Tennessee, the Concrete Coliseum. And we will be recurring this every Tuesday night, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be missing 5 races mid-season because of a prior commitment that we had to do. So, unfortunately, we will be missing 5 weeks about mid-season. As well as we will be broadcasting some of the FUEL IndyCar series later this season. But again, we had a Thursday night conflict with the Scars Ferrari Challenge. That was a prior commitment as well. So we will be broadcasting a couple of their Crown Jewel events. So stick with us on Thursday nights to make sure you don't miss any of it. Pace car is going to pull off. Gabriel Perry elects for the outside lane. Once again, green flag back in the air here on lap 28 at Chicago. A little bit more orderly this time through. Look at Travis McQuistion in the number 93 on the bottom. We got the 56 and the Norman Pelletier trying to make it 3 wide off of turn 2. He'll find a gap. And looks like Finian DeCuna has just arrived. Hello. I didn't think he'd be back this soon, but caution is out again. Here we got a big one in the back here. Tyler Dolger in the 88. Hey, Finian. How's it going?
Oh, man. I literally just ran here.
Oh, gosh. You were definitely going to get my sickness sitting this close to me.
That's fine. I'll take the risk. But yeah, so lap 29 of this race. Kyle, fill me in.
Bunch of yellows so far, mostly on the restarts. There's too many cars out here. Quite a few. Quite a few cars. 39 cars started the event. So it's been... we had about a 10-15 lap green flag run starting from lap 6 to lap 19. And we started to see some really good action till we had I believe it was a 23 car that spun out. That was Aaron Henderson, and he's got some significant damage. That car's crabbing just a little bit here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because if I'm not mistaken, he ran pretty well at Daytona last week, so that's probably going to be a quick end to his day.
Yeah, let's go back and see if we can find what caused this accident here. With the 88 of Dolger was the one that I saw involved, but I'm sure there might have been more, and I can't find him. There he is. Oh, it gets loose on the bottom here. It spins. Oh, Henderson again gets into... Oh, wow. That was a vicious hit for Henderson. And then the 46, nowhere to go for him, caught up in that wreck.
Yeah, let's see if we can try to catch an onboard with a 23 to see what happens from his point of view.
Yeah, so obviously Aaron Henderson involved in an earlier wreck, so has some damage, but we're looking up ahead. Oh, you see, oh, the 88 actually got a little bit of a nudge from, that's the 22. And just got on the binders and got into a couple other drivers, including the 72 of Jack Ritchie, and then the 46 machine of Fred Thompson barreled in there as well. Tore up a lot of good race cars there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as a driver, when you see a wreck spin in front of you, you kind of panic. And the first reaction of anyone is to hit the brakes. But the thing with these cars, if you brake too fast, you're going to end up doing what happened in the 23.
Yeah, I can't really tell. I'm not sure if there's contact before, but there's definitely contact there. And the 88 of Dulger does actually a really good job of blowing that car down, but obviously the brake bias here can make that car pretty slippery once you get on the brakes, and got the 23 out of control. So, meanwhile, up front, Gabriel Perry still assumes the lead. Actually, the driver that started up front and had the lead for the first couple runs was Brett McBride in that number 8 car, but he has slipped back to 5th. And through the pit stops, Perry and Evans have leapfrogged him. Dwayne Culberson also up here in that number 1 car, very strong at Daytona last week.
Yeah, I'm seeing quite a few of the drivers who we saw running up in the front here again. The one, for example, 13, the 28 of Johnston is also there. So a lot of these guys really showing dominance all the way around.
Nick Cohan, the 21 up here as well, but yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different because you normally think that restrictor plate racing is kind of a crapshoot in that it's really more about drafting and luck than anything else. But so far, we've seen similar names up front. I think the only ones that I've noticed that are not higher up the running is Brian Bliss in the number 18. He was running pretty well last week at Daytona. Obviously, Fred Thompson, I believe, was running a little bit better. And David Leclerc in the 50 was also up there a little bit higher up last week. But for the most part, pretty much what we were looking at a week ago at Daytona. But next week, we go off to Bristol, Finian, and short track racing. Always a blast to watch. But a place like Chicagoland, the back straightaway, I mentioned this earlier, when a pack this big, it almost becomes a visibility issue. You're going down that back straightaway. It's not really a natural thing for a race car driver to be turning left on what you call a straightaway. So is the visibility an issue when you're in a pack of 6-7 cars where you're not really sure if you can just go straight or if you have to veer off to the left a little bit?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to figure out. I mean, these cars are really big machines. Let's not forget that. And it is really hard to see through the car in front of you. And the turning in the back kind of helps a bit, but when there's so many cars out there and so many guys to keep track of, it's really difficult. And that's why you tend to see a lot of wrecks on a restart in general, is when everyone's really close together.
And of course, Tim Stillman carrying the Rigshare onboard gyro cam again this week with us. And you can see the banking here, not as steep as Daytona, but certainly a great camera shot. We'll reference this a couple more times once things string out just a little bit. Working lap 32 of 134 here at Chicagoland Speedway here in Joliet, Illinois. And look at the size of that field. It is a big numbers again here for the Rigshare Fuel Cup Series. And all but one of our starting drivers is still out on track, DJ Allen being the only one retired. Although, actually, Will Roberts just jumped off the racetrack as well. Brandon Minto never started the race, so he is not, I'm not counting him in that. Oh, Roberts is just having internal issues.
Yeah, it's incredible to see see 38 of our starters here, and we're about to go green.
And pace car is going to veer very aggressively off once again, and green flags back in the air here again at Chicagoland, lap 33. And Greg Evans did not get a very good restart here. He's going to have, that is the 28 of Timothy Johnson breathing down his neck off into turn 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was a 13 that just, if it was just the 13 got a great start, or the 7 got a poor start, but yeah, 13 definitely took the lead by quite a lot.
Casey Campbell is side by side. That's the 39 of Calvin Filarski. And look at the number 98 back here of Robillard running with, that is basically a modified at this point with all the damage he sustained in that earlier accident.
Yeah, that car has definitely seen better days, I believe.
Driving off into turn 1. That's McBride and the 28 of Johnston side by side. And that is going to be for the 4th spot.
It almost looks like Dwayne wants to make it almost 3 wide. He's looking towards the middle a lot.
Culberson, excuse me, Finnegan. Culberson chased down Cohan down almost to the white line there on the back straightaway. But no, he's looking for 3 wide on the outside in turn 4.
Yeah, he's just looking. It looks like he's just trying to find, which one of them is the faster one to go with. But they're both so neck and neck that he's just finding himself stuck behind. And meanwhile, Nick Cohan behind.
Yellow out again, and this time. Oh, whoa! Culberson spins.
That was a lot of netcode there.
Oh, contact from Tim Silliman and some significant damage to both those race cars. And Silliman's got heavy damage to the nose of that number 6.
Yeah, that was a really weird incident. It just seemed like the one just spun loose. I think some netcode was definitely to blame for that one.
Well, let's take a quick look at what caused the 1 to get sideways. Then we'll go back and take a look at what caused the yellow. But wasn't sure if the 21... Oh, yeah, definitely some netcode there from Cohan. And Silliman just could not get it woed up. But let's go back. I didn't see exactly what caused that yellow flag, but we'll have to chase it down and figure out. It's going to be a little tricky to find it now. Oh, wow, the 73. Okay. Casey Campbell was the main one involved in that, so let's chase it back and see. Oh, came up off the bottom. That's the 22 to his out. Oh, wow, that was not pretty looking. And Campbell goes for a spin and, gets drilled by Tyler Jolgar. And Tyler's been involved in 3 accidents this evening. None of them really his fault.
Yeah, it's just a matter of being an unfortunate victim. But yeah, I really want to go over the replay and just see who came down on who in that wreck.
Yeah, that was definitely. Let's go chopper cam here and take a look from above. But that was kind of a weird one, Finny, and it looks like the 73 just jumped off the bottom, and yeah, I don't quite get that.
Well, I mean, from looking at his point of view, I think he was just trying to stay on the racing surface and not dive below the apron, as a lot of guys do. And I believe, is that the 22 that was involved in that?
Yeah, the 22 again.
Yeah, I don't think the 22 expected him to stay on the actual racetrack, and so they ended up getting together.
Let's take a look from the 22's onboard camera here, and obviously you're not going to be able to see the 73 of Casey Campbell. Let's just see if he leaves enough room. Yeah, not a ton of room, but again, might have just been an assumption that the 73 was going to dive below that onto the apron, as you mentioned. But I guess you can't really assume anything and expect a driver to jump off the racetrack.
Yeah, unfortunately right now he's in the pits. I'm not sure how much damage, but that's not going to be happy for his race.
Yeah, so Casey Campbell involved in that wreck, as well as the 22 of Jake Douglas, who spun. It looks like not a whole lot of damage to that 22 Pennzoil Ford. But other drivers involved, that's the 15 of Michael England. He caught a huge piece of the spinning 73 car with that left front. And the right side also damaged from contact with the wall earlier tonight.
Yeah, quite a few beat-up race cars at this point in the race.
Yeah, early on, too, and there's not something we expected to see here tonight. We thought it would get pretty spread out pretty quick, but Evan Adams, significant damage. He spun out early without causing a yellow. He went drifting through the grass, but had no damage to the race car, and now just gets caught up in somebody else's mess later here this evening. And it looks like that will probably be the night over for Evan Adams in the 59 Castrol.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, too, because it is his home race, too.
Certainly is, but back out front, Gabriel Perry's loving this. He's just getting to lead laps without having to do a whole lot of work, and on lap 38 now, he's led the majority of them at this point.
Yeah, just a great run up front, and these cautions are definitely helping out his case, I think. Well, I wouldn't say he will want the whole race to go under caution, but he's definitely enjoying being in the lead for as long as he has been.
Brett McBride has moved back up 1 spot into 4th, and that might have been aided by Dwayne Culberson in the 1 car spinning and getting rear-ended by Tim Silliman, and conveniently they're right next to each other.
Yeah, I would definitely say Silliman is the much worse off in this affair, and it really is neither of the fault. Just an unfortunate one of those things that just happens with internet racing. Just the server just not knowing what happened there, and the 1 just happened to get spun around, and the 6 just ended up winding up hitting him. And I can't imagine that engine is not damaged in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, unfortunate for Tim Silliman, but hopefully he can at least rebound a bit.
Yeah, certainly can't blame Silliman for anything. It's just so hard to get these cars stopped. But got the 1 to green this time by, and we'll see if Gabriel Perry will take that outside lane again. That's been the popular spot for restarts here this evening, and it hasn't worked out poorly for anybody. Just curious, I would have thought the bottom would have been the stronger line, but so far every leader has taken that outside lane. Yeah,
it seems like some of these guys are probably liking the outside. Might be just that it's a little bit more freedom, and probably just able to get a slightly better jump from the outside lane.
You can see the track is rubbered in, and that line is pretty wide. Certainly, you see a lot of racetracks here in iRacing that get rubbered in, very single grooved, and or they just don't rubber up much at all. But here at Chicago, we've seen a very dark shade of rubber, but a lot wider than maybe we're used to seeing.
Yeah, it just comes to show that a lot of guys are choosing a lot of different lines, and it's really amazing with these guys running fixed setups that there's so much variation in the way that these guys drive the corner.
All right, so we're going to restart on lap 40 here, and Gabriel Perry is ready to go. He's already pulled up alongside the pace car. He wants that car off the racetrack and turn him loose again. 750 horsepower back out underneath driver of the number 13. And Rhett McBride's going to follow him back to the green flag here again at Chicago.
Another great start from that 13, and even the 8-2 right behind. Greg Evans is not able to get the power down. And as we're looking back at the number 56, he also got a pretty good, decent start on that outside line. And we've also seen that picture, the 76, last week's winner there, running pretty well as well. So far, a great job. So far, everyone seems to be getting out pretty single file compared to what we've seen so far.
Yeah, Gale Brooks is side by side with Brad Collins here. Wow, look at the 24 chasing down Travis McQuistion down to the apron there. Almost got turned off the nose.
And he's going to charge on the outside. Let's see if he can get the run done. A little bit of a flashing from him. But that outside line, honestly, it really can work. I'm not sure if his internet happened to just make his run a little bit worse, but if you can really time it right, you can definitely use that outside line to get a good run off the corner.
Look at Mike Kelly in that number 2 Nesquik Ford jumping up in front of Nick Cohan, who is starting to move his way forward a little bit, slipped back to 8th, and he is now starting to get that CJ Auto PA Toyota back moving in the right direction.
Yeah, he's definitely got the 2 under attack, and the 2 actually is working on the 8 car right in front of him. That's the 8 of Rhett McBride. And like I can tell, you can see that Nesquik Ford right in front of Nicholas Cohen. But yeah, great job by him. Started in 4th. He's running 5th, but he's ready to take these 2 guys in front of him.
And Brady Briggs now trying to take the 56 and Norman Pelletier down into turn 1 here.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a ways back, but he's trying to get it done. And you can see the 1 of Dwayne Culberson already working up through the pack around the damaged 98 of Jackson Roblard.
Whoa, that was tight there for a moment. And you see Tim Stillman just a couple spots behind, struggling with the aero on that car. But with the, well, you see, as soon as the 98 of Roblard got to the corner, struggled immensely with downforce. Oh, we got one around. That's the 67 of Brad Collins.
And so far, no cautions. He keeps it down the apron and lets everyone pass. He should be able to stay green.
And caution's
there's the caution out. Oh, all right. So yeah, that's unfortunate. Another, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he finished 2nd last week. So definitely was having a good night, and until he ended up getting spun. Or spinning out, I should say. But
right on the rear, the 24, and then I don't know if he got tapped from the 71 of Gale Brooks there, but spun out. Let's getting on board from the 71.
Yeah, looking at the bump from behind, I think he might have had a little bit of help from the 71 there.
Riding on board with Gale Brooks in the 71 DeWalt vehicle here. Yeah, but again, you can't blame Brooks here because...
Oh yeah, no, not at all. I think it's just that the guys in front of him checked him a lot more than he thought that they would, and you have nowhere to really go. These cars are not the most maneuverable cars in the world, so you kind of just gotta slow down as much as you can. And obviously, it was just an unfortunate accident. So, but however, both these guys, I'm gonna see, seem to have too much damage, maybe just a little bump and a little bruise. But I should be able to get back going again.
Kind of an accordion effect there that caused that one. Look, Collins pulled right up to the rear bumper of the 24. 24 slipped mid-corner, and that backed Collins up right into Brooks in that 71 car. There's not really much for them to do, and we got the whole field coming down to pit road.
Yeah, it looks like these guys want to make their stop here. These guys can go about 60 laps on fuel. So this is definitely, I think some of these guys are feeling like, you know, now's the time to come make a pit stop.
So this is where the lead changed last time. It was Perry that beat off the previous leader, and that was Rhett McBride in the number 8 car. So we'll watch the pit exit here and see who comes out first and see what the pit stop times are like. Let's see if anybody can pull a two-stop strategy or a two-tire strategy, knowing that we've seen quite a few yellows here, and maybe just a track position game, as Perry is going to win the race off pit road. And looks like, we see someone else jumping up there. I believe is that the 94 of Eric Grundy's in that blue car. If you can get a better look, and it is in the Goodyear Toyota Camry. And I'm not sure. Look, maybe he 10.4.
Yeah, that's definitely a 2-tire stop.
Yeah.
Unless his guys are really good at putting 4 tires on the car, that's definitely a 2-tire stop. And from the looks of it, I don't think, Tim Silman seemed to have taken 2 tires, but he's all the way back in 15th. But yeah, definitely, I think he is one of the only guys who took 2 tires on that stop. So we'll see how that works out for him. Personally, I don't know if that will or not, but those tires I don't think really got too much action on the green, so we don't know yet.
I think that's really the point to be made, Finian, is that we've seen the yellows kind of be, I want to call it rampant, but they've been common tonight. And I think Brundy's is actually making a pretty smart strategy call here. Track position game is key. You can always wait another couple of yellows, come down and get 4 fresh tires, be on the same game as everyone else, and still have that track position. So I think this is a great move by Brundy's in that number 94.
Yeah, but up ahead, but we do have a new leader, and it seems to be the one of Dwayne Culberson, who decided to stay out. And it's an interesting call on him, but I guess, I believe he did actually end up coming down during that last yellow to fix some damage. So I guess he figured, why pit when you only went 3 laps under green. So he should have pretty much equal tires, maybe slightly less than those guys behind him. But yeah, so it's now the 1, the 22, the 13, 94, and the 8, your top 5.
Yeah, so I like the strategy calls here. It looks like Jake Douglas in that 22 is also stayed out on the racetrack, and he's been involved in a couple things tonight, and maybe just figured, hey, we'll just keep it on the racetrack instead of heading into the pits. We'll get ourselves some track position to hopefully keep ourselves out of the messes that have been going on the racetrack tonight.
Yeah, definitely the best places of the track to be on are really either the front of the field or the back. When you're in the middle, you're surrounded by so many guys, and a lot of guys who may have been in wrecks charging up to the front. Some guys are slower in the front, coming towards the back, and you're just surrounded by cars. So really, the front and the back of the field are your safest places to be.
So Perry will fall to 3rd, and Rhett McBride will fall back to 5th. He was the early leader tonight. And Nick Cohan all the way back to 9th now. So his progress just got erased by those guys staying out on the racetrack.
And we're going to get the 1 to green this time. These guys are going to get doubled up yet again. We're going to get going back racing.
And Culberson going to choose the bottom here. And I'm not sure if he was aware that the other leaders had taken the top side, or if he just feels like his car is better down there. But that's the first time we've seen someone take the bottom here, coming to lap 50. Yeah, that's just an interesting move. And the 22, Jake Douglas, might be in the catbird seat here if that bottom lane it proves to be a little bit slippery on the restart.
Yeah, I'm also kind of wondering that too, because on the last run we saw him making passes on the outside. So kind of curious to see what he's up to in that number 1 Toyota. But we'll find out in about half a lap.
And in terms of retirements, looks like we have all but 2. Connor Welsh is retired in 35. DJ Allen in the, I almost said G-Day again. In the number 9, he is out of the race in 37th. A couple other drivers, multiple laps down. Will Roberts, 23 laps down. Justin Rodden, 24 laps down. Probably out of the race, but they're showing in their pit stall, so still fixing damage as we come back to the green flag. Oh, Culberson loose on the restart.
Everyone's loose.
Yeah, those tires just a couple laps old, and we got 3 wide coming to the checker stripe there, and this is going to be a lot of action heading down into turn 1.
Yeah, you can see the 7 definitely took advantage. I remember passing on the outside is legal. He wasn't able to get it done that time, but the 94 definitely was a little bit busy there. And up towards the front, we see the 13 on the inside of Culberson, and he looks like he might be able to make the pass here. And that was a great job, and I think those tires are really helping, or just the fact that Culberson was trying to gather up what he could from that start. But yeah, just that wheel spin, I think, just really killed him.
McBride all the way onto the apron. He's going to try to get around Culberson. Oh, a little bit of side contact there down into turn 1. A little bit of damage to the left front of that number 1 car, but Looks like they're going to survive, but man, this has been action-packed on the restart tonight. Look at Nick Cohan back here trying to figure out what he wants to do with this mess.
Yeah, and I think you're just seeing the fact that fresh tires are key here, and these guys are blowing them out of the water.
Working lap 50 now, and I saw a couple sparks out in front here, but although Culberson slipping back very quickly, and this strategy call might not have worked out for him too well. Also notable, wow, the 21 contact sideways, the 22 out of control, and Nick Cohan into the wall. And that is going to be night over for Nick Cohan. So, when he gets hit at the end there by more drivers, and what a shame to see Cohan caught up in a wreck here on lap 51.
Yeah, that was a big accident involving a bunch of guys, and we really need to catch a replay of that, because that wreck was almost an entire corner.
Alright, so here's the replay. We're back about a quarter of a lap here from what caused the 21. Maybe we'll try out a different angle here, see what we can see. But looks like Cohan just got... Oh, he actually... It started way earlier in the corner with the 24. And just a big mess. That's all I can describe that as here. And then just gets hit. Wow, someone came flying in there. Didn't see who that was. Maybe we can back this up a little bit more. Gets turned into the fence, into the safer barrier there. And I'm not sure at the end here. It was the 26, I want to say.
Yeah.
I don't see number 26 on the racetrack.
29, maybe?
Oh, 29. That is the Dean Doucette. Oh, the 24 was wrecked all the way down the back. More involved. This is a much bigger wreck than we thought.
Yeah, it seems like just because so many cars were just all over the place, everyone got bunched up. And some contact was had between a bunch of drivers.
So, if I can try to find the 24 car, it'd be an interesting one to watch to see if we can chase back what caused that initial contact. It is so hard to find drivers. There we go. On the screen with so many people. But we'll go look and see what caused Brady Briggs to initially lose control here. All right.
Yeah, we can see these guys going side by side through the trial.
Came across the nose of the 93, Travis McQuistion.
Ah, yeah. So, yeah, I think it was just that hasty move, cutting off the 93 at the 24 into Nick Cohan, and that just started off this giant chain reaction. There's our Daytona winner in the 76, and wow, so a lot of pretty big names taking out in this wreck.
And Tim Silliman also got a piece of it at the end there.
Yeah, so Rick Thompson's going to be out of this pretty much, out of at least running for the win. And that's really, really unfortunate to see him end his night like that.
So a pretty enormous wreck here on that 51 has kind of put a stranglehold on some of the good drivers here in the field and taken out a bunch of cars. We have 26 cars on the lead lap, which is down from the 39 that we had when we started the race. So attrition is high here early at Chicago.
Yeah, another few bite the dust in that accident. But yeah, we're definitely running out of drivers, and we are not even halfway yet.
The pace has slowed from, like, Daytona was so clean and so competitive, and this week we've just struggled to get green flag runs under the belt. I think it's combined with the slippery surface, combined with the big grid size, has led to an undesirable amount of yellow flags here tonight. But that, obviously, there's some growing pains with getting everything sorted out. So I think these drivers will probably get themselves calmed down towards the later portions of this race. And next week, heading into Bristol, I think people are less likely to get arrow loose at Bristol than they are here. And you can also run with a pretty seriously damaged car. But Dwayne Culberson in that one car slid from 1st to 9th on that short run, so I'm not sure his strategy is paying off for him so far.
Yeah, if I was him at the moment, I would have probably come down to take some tires on the stop to try to set him back. He obviously would have been put back further in the field, but I think those fresh tires were definitely helping that last time out with those guys in the front. And actually, if we can find the 94 of Eric Brundle, he's all the way back in 11th.
I think you're looking for Brundis.
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of
Martin
Brundle. Yeah, he's
No
not
relation.
the F1 broadcaster, but he took 2 tires on that stop, and he was also dropping back with the 22 and the 1. So I think 4 tires is really the call here, up on the box. So I mean, definitely late in the race, if you wanted to get track position, sure, but for a long-term strategy, just not paying off for these guys.
Yeah, I think Chicago's got such an abrasive surface that the tire thing, after 2 or 3 laps, the good's worn off. You got to come down and get tires. But I thought it would have been a good move by Culberson if they could just have maintained that lead. But the fresh tires, these guys are like sharks on the restart, and they're no problem going 3 wide to get that lead back. And Rhett McBride is going to be, is he shown as the leader?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he's the lead.
I think he is.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no. Nope, he's definitely not. Gabriel Perry, that's not supposed to do that. So that's interesting. Anyway, Gabriel Perry will be on the outside leading this field back to green. And he's going to go and snooker everybody else. He's got a great jump on the field. And we're going back green here, lap 55 at Chicago.
And Mike Kelly in that 2 has also got a pretty good start. He's fighting the 8 right now for 2nd place.
Ethan Kurtz was actually the winner of the last chance qualifier in that number 05 car, involved in a couple accidents early, but has recovered. He's running in the top 10 now.
Yeah, definitely showed that he shouldn't have been in that qualifier to do it. We got a bump and a save. Wow.
It's a 67 of Brad Collins, but it's not over yet. Here comes the 94. Oh, horrible collision. The 94 of Grundy's in the wall. And more. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, we see some guys of 15 to 23 who are already involved in accidents. They're also taking on that 94 car. Is junk.
That was a horrible collision from the 94. And let's go back and take a look at it. That was a crash that was happening a long time in advance.
It's easy the 67 getting loose there, and the 94 was trying to go around him, and then the 67 just tapped him a bit. And we're talking about just how slippery the surface is, and just a little bump gets you just that much loose. Yeah,
one thing I don't like to see in all this, even with the collisions that we've been seeing, is we're riding on board now with Aaron Henderson in the 23. If you look up ahead, this crash has been happening for a long time now, and listen to the throttle. He's on throttle much too long and came in here with a head of steam. Don't like to see that. It's never a good idea to come barreling into an accident scene. So tisk tisk on Aaron Henderson for not slowing down, and that could have been a lot worse had he run into somebody.
Yeah, I even noticed that in the last accident, some of these guys not getting slowed down enough. And I mean, you know, you got to slow down. When the caution comes out, you should really start getting on the brakes.
There's nothing to gain. Caution's out. Your position's locked. I'm not sure why these guys are barreling in here. Like Danica Patrick, just, you know, holding throttle down. Like, it's not going to get you anything. I don't understand that. Some of these guys, and a lot of the people that we've been seeing in the wrecks today, not to call anybody out in particular, but we've seen them in more than 2. You know, and so that's not a good thing either. I think that there should be some of these incidents should be looked at in terms of, you know, avoidable contact penalties are kind of silly, but I think it's more about slowing down for the yellow. It's stupid to not do that, and it's frustrating to see people thinking that's going to work out for them in any way, shape, or form. Caution's out. Your position's locked. Stop the car. You know? Yeah.
So Will Roberts is probably going to be busy as the admin trying to look through a bunch of the accidents tonight and just decide what to do going forward with the league.
It's not even like the yellows. You know, you expect yellow flags to happen, and that's all fine and dandy. But some of these accidents have been 1 or 2 car accidents that pile into 6, 7, 8. Like the last caution we saw with the 24 and the what was the other driver that was involved in that 24 car, and I'm trying to think who else was involved. Nick Cohan, right? That wreck there, that was really a 3-car incident, and by the middle of the back straightaway, it was 12 or 13 cars. How do you get that many cars involved in that when it happened 20 seconds in advance? It's just, you got to start using your head a little bit here. I think some of these drivers are getting a little bit frustrated at this point, and are just trying to get on any track position they can get, but it's just not worth it.
Yeah, so hopefully these guys will start getting it sorted out. Although we are, as the cars tick down, I'm sure we'll probably start seeing some more green flag runs. As you know, typically that just happens with such a big field. You know, guys end up getting into each other and what have you. So hopefully these guys start driving a little bit cleaner with some more heads on their shoulders, and we can get some nice green flag runs in.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's helping is some of the drivers that were involved in a lot of accidents earlier are sitting laps down in the garage area right now, so that's certainly going to thin out the field a little bit. But some drivers that were having a horrible day earlier are now running very well, and that's Andrew Cardinale in the 45 running in 7th. Involved in a spin earlier, got some damage, but running very well now. Again, Ethan Kurtz, again, can't say enough about how far he's come from the starting 33rd up to 8th now in that 05.
Yeah, the 45 of Andrew Cardinale, too, had a miserable day at Daytona. He ended up starting from the pits, and with almost no caution coming out, he got put a lap or two down from not being that lead driver. So he ended up finishing in the 20s, I believe, when it was all said and done. But right now he's running up in 7th and looking for a pretty good points day if things end as they do.
So coming to the restart, now Rhett McBride is leading, so we'll see what he does with this restart. And it looks like he hasn't really chosen a line yet, looking for the high lane, it looks like. And that will leave Mike Kelly in the Nesquik Fusion.
Actually, I'm noticing no one's taking a line. I'm wondering here if there's a call from the admins to do a single file start.
I bet you that would be the case, and that's a good call to kind of eliminate what we've been seeing Rex-wise here this evening. I think that's right. So it looks like we have been ordered to do a single file restart to clean this up just a little bit.
All right, I like it. Darlington's up this weekend. Throwback to the old restart style.
Throwback into the old restart style. This is just a good admin move here. This is very responsible. If you're struggling with getting clean restarts in the double file and these guys can't handle it, then going to single file is the way to go. I really, really approve of that decision. Pace car is going to pull off. We're going to go green on lap 60, and we're not quite halfway just yet, but we're getting there. Green flag's back in the air.
You see the 13, Gabriel Perry's going to go to the outside. Again, you can pass there, and he's going to try to get around the two blocks, or shuts the door. I should say block, but he shuts the door on the 13. And 13's going to have to back off of that. He's under attack by the 28 of Timothy Johnson. Meanwhile, we're looking at the 05 of Ethan Kurtz charging on the 45 of Andrew Cardinale.
Little battle down the back straightaway. Jack Ritchie was involved in a big wreck earlier, and looks like he is actually doing just fine right now, moving up into 15th, and that's Culberson in the number 1 car.
Yeah, this shows that it pays to trudge on, and I mean, these guys are running 15 and 16, probably not where ideally they would like to be in the top 10, but they're not too far from there, and if they can just keep charging on, fix a little bit of that damage throughout the run, they should be able to get back up there.
Well, so far the single file restart has definitely cleaned stuff up a little bit. We still have a couple of groups of drivers that are in the middle of a battle. There's Brian Bliss, Andrew Cardinale in there, as well as the 71 of Gail Brooks, and then just behind him, that's Jake Douglas and Tim Silliman involved in a battle here.
And I see Tim all the way up in 13. He's trying to fight for 12th, so nice to see that damage isn't slowing him down too much. It's definitely not helping him at any point, but it's good to see that he's running relatively competitive.
And Gail Brooks jumping out of line to get by the number 45 down on the bottom. Yeah, I think that single file restart was a very good decision. Looks like we got this kind of cleaned up for now. Whoa! And
Brooks speak too soon. Yeah, Brooks has got a little sideways there, and great recovery. It's really hard to save a car that's sideways, and solid job there. He's going to have to just get back going in line.
So Brooks saves an out-of-control race car. There's Norman Pelletier. I haven't talked a whole lot about him tonight, but he's battling with the number 1 of Dwayne Culberson. And Silliman is now working over Brooks for that 12th spot.
You can see, I think he is definitely he is struggling just a bit on the power side of things. Not too terrible, but he would definitely love to have some more power in that engine.
It's going to be a battle ultimately for 6th. That's Ethan Kurtz, Calvin Filarski, and Brian Bliss.
Gold Guy's having a great run. I don't think we've ever really talked about that 39, and he's having a solid day in 7th at the moment.
Yeah, Filarski having a good run. Started all the way back in 29th, currently running 7th. So Filarski, big mover here tonight. 22 spots here on lap 65.
Yeah, he's trying to make it 23 as the 05 goes slow to defend. But here comes the 39 with nowhere to really go. He's charging there really hard, but he's got to worry about that 18 of Brian Bliss behind him. As you see, Bliss is going to look to the inside because he's got a great run out of the corner. These guys are going to be side by side down the back straightaway.
Heading off into turn 3 side by side. This is for 6th.
And it looks like the 39 is going to surrender that position for now. Bliss is going to take that with ease. But here it comes. Wow.
That's Travis McCuistion in the 93 jumping into the mix. Well, sorry to cut you off there, Finish. Oh, no. Caution. And this time, it looks like it... Oh, well, Michael England in the 15... No, he was already there.
Yeah, try to find where that started.
I didn't see what caused that.
Yeah, it's kind of a brain scratcher for us. We have no clue what really started that whole thing off.
Huh.
Yeah, we didn't see anyone really slow.
Let's go jump back and see if we can find what caused that wreck, but I have not seen or heard reports of what caused that accident.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything at the moment.
Huh, that is a complete mystery.
So we seem we got a debris caution.
Yeah, we'll call it that.
Can't find who it was, but yeah. So these guys are under caution again. But yeah, it's great green flag run that last time by these guys, and everyone's gonna come down for some fresh tires. And we're gonna see if anyone tries to attempt that 2-tire strategy. Although I think from seeing what happened with the 94, the 1 and the 22 that last time, but I think they're probably gonna go with 4 tires and call it safe.
Alright, while these guys are making their pit stops, I'm going to be right back. Just got to grab a tissue.
Alright, so we're going to see everyone come into their pit stalls here. And I doubt anyone's going to play any strategy games here. But if someone does, it'll be a huge gain for them. And we'll see if the lead gets jumbled up at all. But so far, so good. I can see everyone jumping up on their left sides. And here they come down. The 8's going to jump out first, followed by the 28. He's got a great stop. He's going to jump up to second place. So Timothy Johnson, second off pit road, I should say, at the moment. There are 2 cars that stayed out. So, yeah, so looking like the 8, the 28, and the 13 of Perry rounding out the top 3 out of pit road.
So Casey Campbell in the 73 going to stay out on the racetrack, as well as Brad Collins, and both these drivers involved in wrecks earlier for significant damage. And let's take a look at what the pit stop situation was. Yeah, these times are from last time, but looks like everyone took 4 that time through, Finian, and not really any surprises there.
Yeah, I'm surprised these guys are staying out up front unless they're going to... Okay, the 67 of Collins is going to come in, but Campbell seems like he's going to stay out. So he's on, I believe that's what, 16 lap old tires.
That's going to be interesting for the restart for sure.
Yeah, so I'm surprised by the move. I thought if he was like maybe 2-3 laps out, he probably would have tried to gamble that. But 16 is a really long time on tires. And considering these guys had a pretty long flag run, those tires have definitely degraded a lot more than the guy sitting behind him with fresh Goodyears on.
All right, so Campbell leading right now. Rhett McBride in second. Johnson in third, Gabriel Perry fourth, Greg Evans in fifth. Update on a couple drivers from earlier. Rick Thompson in that number 76, currently in 23rd, 1 lap down. Only 1 spot away. Look at that car is destroyed. 1 spot away from getting the free pass. Eric Grundy's currently in that position, but he is in pit lane. And actually, Rick Thompson just passed him, so now Thompson is in that free pass spot, so we'll be looking for him to get his lap back here. Not really much to compete with that damaged race car, but certainly being able to lead lap will help.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you won Daytona and you're the points leader going in, so at this point, just gotta run it out for points. And it definitely sucks for him running the next 64. I can do math. The next 64 laps with a wrecked race car.
So we are past the halfway point here at Chicago. Night has been gold colored. Those lights blinking on the safer barrier. And lots of yellows here this evening, but we just got the 1 to green symbol again here tonight. And I imagine we'll be single file restart once again. Just kind of calling it audible here to clean up the racing tonight. And I think it's a combination of guys not really knowing how each other race yet, a surface that's very slippery, and a big field. I think that all those things are just adding up to kind of create a little bit more chaos than we're used to seeing. And especially last week at Daytona, we had 1 caution for the whole 60-lap race, and that's hard to do restrictor plate racing. But here tonight, with the slicker surface, been a little bit of a challenge for these drivers.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the wrecks seem to be kind of some spins, some guys just getting a little bit too close to each other. Nothing crazy. The caution was just thrown out again, I think, to get everyone sorted out. But yeah, it's just kind of the slippery surface, I think, is definitely playing the most factor into it, and everyone kind of just taken a little aback by it.
Casey Campbell on that 73 started 37th.
It's pretty much dead last. And he's all the way up in first, but he's going to get swallowed whole on his restart. However, with the restarts now being single file, I think he's at a little bit of an advantage because as soon as the pace car pulls off, you know he's going to gun it, and he'll have a little bit of a amount of time to break away from second place, but those guys are going to come charging up really fast behind him.
One thing I just discovered that's actually kind of nice is, oops, that's not, we don't want to see that. The track map actually works here this week, and a lot of the ovals don't have them. But this week at Chicagoland, looks like we got a track map, and it's not really useful because it's an oval, but it's here. Good to know. Anyway, Campbell will be leading us to the green, and Rhett McBride, I think, will be your leader by the exit of turn 2.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that these guys behind him are just waiting to get him out of the way, but yeah, he's it's just an interesting audible from him to try to just get himself up there, and it may or may not pay out for him. We don't know, but I would say probably not going to.
Well, if you can hang in the top 5 for a couple of yellows, and then get 4 tires, be on the same strategy as the leaders, then you made a good call. I just don't think that that's a realistic option at this point. I think he's going to struggle to even get going with 16, 20 lap old tires.
Yeah, so you got Campbell, McBride, Johnson, Perry, Evans, your top 5. We're going to come out of turn 4. We're going to take the green on lap 73.
So it'd be interesting to watch. Let's actually ride on board with Rhett McBride here and just see what Campbell can do with the tires. And he actually got a pretty, you see right there as soon as he gets into 3rd gear.
And here we go into turn 1. And the 73 has nothing to say. He's going to get past the 8, the 28, and yep, caution is out. And we have a huge wreck. And we see the 22, the 6, the 88, and Cardinal's also involved.
Well, at least this time we know what happened. But, oh man, this is a mess back here. So here's where we play the restart.
A lot of checking up back here. Some guys not getting going as fast as they can. The 22 seriously kind of dives a little bit low.
Oh,
come
on.
Up
That
into
was
the racing surface, and yeah, that was a really bad move on his part, and that caused a huge accident. I don't think anyone got too severe of contact other than the 71 and probably the 1. But yeah, he hit the 39, and that's what sent him below the line.
Yeah, I just don't. Coming back up the racetrack like that was reckless at best.
Yeah, that was a really poor move on his part. It just caused an unnecessary accident. And that if you get shoved on the line below the line like that, it's really up to you to rejoin safely. So that was kind of a questionable move on the 22's part.
Well, again, this is just what we've been noticing tonight is that the wrecks are coming from the same it's probably 7 or 8 cars that have been involved in about 85% of the incidents tonight, and the 22 has been involved in a couple of them, and this is just not a good way to start off the league here with a reputation, and it looks like Douglas is going to have one after that. That was not really an ideal move. I don't get why you would pull up the racetrack like that, especially when you know you got cars to your outside, but I don't quite get that. So we're back under yellow here, lap 75.
Yep, and these guys I think are definitely going to be sick of pacing as we see. I'm trying to see who's the wave around.
It's the 94 of that's what's his name, Brundys.
Yeah, he's gonna come. He's stuck in 22nd, but nice to see him out. But that car is not going anywhere fast. It's pretty much like a modified at this point as far as speed's concerned. It's only hitting about 150, 160. So. Yeah, so nice to see him back out there. Definitely going to be running first, just getting as many points as he can, and solid job for sticking out there up to 19. So he is in the top 20 if he can keep it there.
So Brundys will get himself back on the lead lap, and interestingly, now we have 22 cars on the lead lap. So that is almost just half of what we started with. So that tells you the level of attrition we've had tonight. not very good. You see Nick Cohan back out on the racetrack 23 laps down, but he actually might get a couple spots back here. Scott Simley, Fred Thompson, David Leclerc, other drivers that are damaged but still out on the racetrack. So Calvin Filarski was the 39 that was the car that the 22 made contact with, but it was the 22 made contact with Filarski's left rear. And I don't think, at least from my perspective, I didn't see Filarski move down at all. So what I saw was Douglas basically ran into the left rear, pulled down all the way to the apron, and then just pulled back up onto the racetrack for turn 1 without any situational awareness, and that's what caused that accident. But Filarski will get away with just a little scrape to the left rear. Yeah,
I mean, when you on those restarts, if you're trying to make a pass, it's kind of up to you before the start-finish line to make sure you do it in a relatively safe manner and keep clear. Because typically passing on the start, on the start like that is a really risky move, and you really got to be careful with what you're doing. So yeah, that's all I got to say on that matter.
So drivers that have been up front, our top 5 has pretty much been, other than the comers and goers through pit strategy, the top 5 has pretty much been solid for the whole entire race. McBride, Johnston, Perry, Evans, and Kelly have really been up here. And again, very similar guys we saw up at front at Daytona last week, and I expect these guys to be good next week at Bristol too.
Yeah, definitely showing the guys are definitely going to be the guys that will run up front as we're on a traditional oval track. So we're seeing some familiar names and some names also taken out. Unfortunately, so hopefully they'll be back up with the rest of these guys next week at Bristol. But yeah, normally I'm just looking at our timing, and the 25 of Dan
Barone there in the 25.
Yeah, 16 pit stops. I think he's gonna.
It's actually the most of anybody in the field,
and he's running only 15th too. So I mean, I think the team's gonna be running out of Goodyears by the end of before the end of the race.
He was actually involved in a wreck earlier, which is probably why he pitted so many times. But yeah, interesting to note. We're just looking at the I ratings of the front 5, and that makes sense why they're up there.
Yeah, the entire top 5 all above 3,000 I rating.
All above 3,500
yeah,
I rating.
So definitely showing why they're in the top 5 tonight.
Yeah.
So McBride's been doing a great job being in the front. Johnson hasn't been able to have really much of a say, really. It's been between Perry and McBride so far. So he's in second. He's right on the rear bumper. We'll see what he can do right now.
Yeah, this is as high up as Johnson's been all night, so we'll see if he can make a move on McBride. But McBride shoots out of a cannon here. And I guess we'll watch back a little bit deeper in the field, because that's where the trouble's been happening, as you see a couple guys already kind of side-by-side heading down into turn 1. Casey Campbell, I saw a little bit of smoke there from somebody, but Culberson back up in the top 10. Whoa, look out. That's the 45, Andrew Cardinal, that's a little bit sideways.
Yeah, it seems like the damage is really hurting his machine at the moment. He does have a little bit of damage, but it's hurting him. And Gale Brooks also trying to work his way back up and gets really loose, saves it. Great car control by him. He's still looking to the inside of Campbell, and Brooks is in the wall trying to get that thing under control.
Brooks has been fighting that car all evening, and now Campbell's in the wall.
Yeah, a lot of guys seem to be losing the handling, but a great job at least keeping the car straight and keeping it driving forward. So, good car control by some of these guys.
Back up for the lead. It looks like Perry's gotten around the 28 of Johnston for second, and Johnston's actually about to lose another spot to Greg Evans in the 7. But we're going to have a battle for the lead here in not too long, and the 8 McBride has fallen back into the clutches of Perry in the number 13.
Yeah, Perry's got a great restart, passing the 28, and now looking to the inside of McBride, almost like ease. And he's going to dive to the inside. They're going to be side-by-side through the corner, but the McBride's going to have that run on the top side as if he can get that run down. And it seems like Perry's able to hold it at the moment.
To the line, McBride will lead that lap by an inch.
Yeah, it's not even showing the gap on our scoring. That's how close it was. And here comes McBride charging on the outside. And he seems like he might be able to just hold off Perry for now.
This is what Perry struggled with earlier in the race. Perry sat behind McBride for that initial green flag run and struggled to get around him, even though he did seem quicker, and we're seeing that again here. But Perry, it looks like he's able to carry a little bit more speed off of turn 4 that time through.
Yeah, it's just got really nowhere to go, and here comes the 7-2 of Greg Evans. He's been a little bit quiet so far tonight. He's trying to make some noise up here, just quietly watching for his perfect time to strike.
And McBride has slipped up the racetrack a little bit more towards the middle, and it looks like Perry likes that bottom lane. He's been tucked way down there, and it's hurting his run through or down the back straightaway as he keeps it tight in 1 and 2, and even through 3 and 4, he's right down in that white line. But here comes Greg Evans in the 7 now, up into the mix.
Yeah, he's getting that toe from these two guys in front, and just gonna kind of, you know, honestly, the guy in third just got to kind of watch and just see, you know, where these guys are running, where you think you can get them, and just kind of save up your stuff. But actually, he's not going to save his stuff at all. He's going to charge to the inside, get a huge run on Perry, and he might be looking to the inside going to 3.
We got some lap traffic up ahead, too, to deal with in just a moment. Three-way battle for the lead here, lap 83. Perry slips a little bit, and now Evans is able to close the gap even more down the front straightaway now. Perry is driving a little protecting now down the front straight.
Yeah, I mean, you got a guy you're trying to pass in front of you, you got a guy charging up behind you. It's kind of, you know, you got to play offense and defense at the same time. And here he comes on the inside. McBride just cannot, that run out of the corner is just too powerful at the moment, and he's going to have to still just slide into the second as he has to get around this lap car. That is the 16 of...
That is...
just past him.
Mark Nobert in the number 16. Oh, we got a... No, that actually, that... We're going to have a 3-wide battle for the lead. Look out, the 13 chops the nose of the 7. We're going to have a pass for the lead. Slide job, contact between the two leaders, and they're going to run up the racetrack, and here comes the 7 of Adams back on the inside. Can he pass both of them in one shot?
I don't know. That 8's going to be looking, but here comes the 2 out of all that. They all got held up, and they're going to charge. Here comes the 7 of Greg Evans looking for the lead, and the 8 of McBride's going to look on the outside. And Perry might be losing 2 spots in the corner, and nope, he's not. But here comes McBride on the inside.
Great battle for the lead here. Lap 86 now. Yep. And down into turn 1, McBride's going to go back to the bottom and slip up just a little bit. But can he hold that line? That was what Perry was struggling with just a lap ago. And we have a 5-way battle for the lead now. Greg Evans on point.
Yeah, that lap car really threw a mix in, and all these guys got bunched up here and pretty much have a say in this battle at the moment.
Throw a blanket over all of them, and it looks like Evans is actually going to pull away just a little bit. Oh, wow, more lap cars. And that slowed up McBride just enough to let Perry get to the right rear quarter panel. A side draft down the front straightaway, down into turn 1 now. Perry's going to run that high lane now. Not where he's been most of the race. These guys have really switched lines. You see McBride on the bottom and Perry on the top.
And McBride seemed to get just a little bit loose, and he's going to lose his momentum down the straightaway. Yeah, that's really a key to the driver, is just trying to find different lines. You can't run the same line every single lap. You got to look for something new. It might be faster, and Perry seems to have found something, but just cannot get around the 8 of McBride.
Great stuff here for the lead.
Here comes Johnson on the outside of that two Nesquik car, and he's looking to try to get 4th. And you know, he's been looks like he was falling back that entire run, but he's right up here now and he's trying to make the best of it. And Perry's gonna drop to 4th now as the 2 gets around, maybe even 5th. So he's gonna go from the lead all the way to the back within about 5 laps.
So things have sorted out just a little bit for now, but Greg Evans was the big winner in that, and because the 2 leaders, the McBride and Perry, almost took each other out. But looks like we're gonna settle it for now.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that too soon. Here comes Mike Kelly trying to look to the inside of McBride. Can't quite get anything done, but here comes Johnson with a pretty big run on the outside. Kelly's giving the room for now. But yeah, it seems like he wants to get there, but just doesn't have enough car to do it. But here comes Johnson with a huge run, looking to the outside. The 2 goes up to block a little bit, but Johnson's got it, and it looks like Johnson might move up to 3rd. So great recovery by Johnson. Looked like he was fading in that run a bit.
Now, interesting thing to note here, Finian, the best lap time of the top 5 drivers, they are the only drivers, this top 5, Evans, McBride, Johnson, Kelly, and Perry, they're the only drivers in the field to have sub 30-second lap times here. So, obviously, these top 5 drivers, very good here tonight.
Yeah, I think that just showed, that run we just saw from these guys shows why they have 3,500 iRating plus. And Johnson just a little bit loose. Here comes a 2 of Kelly looking to the outside, trying to get that run, but Johnson's got nowhere to go. He's got a car in front of him, a car behind him, and a lap car is outside. It's the 94 of I'm trying to keep forgetting the name, Grundy's, and he's gonna move out of the way of these guys. These guys are all bunched up. Meanwhile, the 7 of Evans is gonna check out from the rest of these guys saying, you know, you guys have fun battling, I'm going to lead this race. And here comes Johnson to the inside of the 8. He's got a fender there and almost a tire. But yeah, he's going to have to back up the run. And see, that outside lane is really starting to play in for these guys.
Yeah, but he killed his momentum off the corner, and now here comes Mike Kelly back down to the inside. And he's going to clear him down into turn 1.
Yeah, that just losing all your momentum is really deadly here. We saw it happen to Perry, and now we saw it happen to Johnson. And you got to just keep that momentum going out of the corner. You can see Johnson got a huge run on Kelly. Did what Kelly did just a lap ago, and he's going to keep trying. I think that outside line is definitely, or outside or middle line is definitely one of the more preferred lines at the moment.
Mike Kelly got a decent run off turn 4 there. You see Johnson get a little bit loose, and now comes Perry to the inside to take advantage of it. But Mike Kelly jumps up and he's catching the 8 of McBride.
Yeah, it seemed to be a little bit of a sleeper, but he's showing some pace right now at the moment. Just can't quite get around McBride. McBride running that really top line, and it seems to be paying off for him.
Checking in with Tim Silman in that number 6 car. Back up in 14th with significant damage to the nose of that vehicle, but still plugging away.
Here's a good battle between McQuistion and I believe that's Kurtz in the 05, who's again started way in the back, and he's now knocking out just outside the top 5. These two guys have seemed to be having a little bit of a scrap the last few laps as we were watching that top 5 battle go on, but here he comes on charging on the outside of McQuistion. Can't quite get the run done though.
Yeah, Kurtz is running way up against the wall. That's something that we haven't seen a whole lot of just yet. Is running up that Larson line, and through 3 and 4 he's running a little bit more middle, but let's see if this time through 1 and 2 if he runs more of that high line.
Yeah, and what I'm noticing is that he's entering the corner high and charging out low, trying to get a late apex on it. And it seems to be kind of working in a strange way for him. As you look up actually ahead, and Kelly seems to have gotten around the 8 of McBride.
Whoa, yeah.
Just barely. And actually McBride's got a little offender, so you saw something to say about this, but no, Kelly's going to clear him.
All right, so let's watch the gap to the leader. It's about half a second now. We'll give it a lap or two and see where we are, but lap 95, we're starting to get down to the nitty-gritty. It's going to be 40 laps to go, if my math is correct. 39 now.
And we're going to see if these guys really have enough car to catch the 7 of Greg Adams, who hasn't really had to fight anybody too much after that first few laps. He was able to get a decent lead. But from the looks of it, it seems Kelly is closing up a bit on Evans.
Yeah, already a 10th eaten into that lead. And Evans really just benefited from the contact between McBride and Perry and was able to capitalize on it and run away for a couple laps as the yellow comes out again. And this time it's going to be for the 22 once again.
Yeah, it's only him so far on the track. We're trying to see, gotta see now if it's a single car incident. And it seems he got up into the wall and then just ended up hitting into the outside wall again, and that's may or may not be night over for him. That don't see any engine damage at the moment, but gotta be frustrating for him. He's going out. It just seemed like the car got tight on him and just ended up into the wall and nose into the wall. It's not going to be good for his car.
Alright, so now you pit. We're good to the end here, Finian. So I think this is where we see our final pit stops.
Yeah, I think these guys should be good to the end. So, you know, last pit stop, you don't want to screw it up. It can cost any one of those top 5 or anyone further back a win. So get into your stall, don't overshoot it, and hope your guys get you out faster than the rest of the guys.
You see the 28 pulled right up to the rear bumper of that 8 car McBride, and we're going to watch the pit exit diligently here to see who wins the race off pit road. We'll also be watching the pit stop times. Will anybody play any strategy here with just under 40 laps to go?
Well, I think if you're going to try to do something now, it's a pretty good time to do it. See someone jump out of their pit stall really fast.
That's the 7
of Evans jumps out really fast than a lot of the other guys. He actually got one of the fastest stops of 14.5.
Yeah, most of the stops all look like 4 tires though, so nothing too out of the ordinary here.
So I believe the order is exactly as was running, although the 05 of Ethan Kurtz is up to 5th and Perry is going to lose out.
Great pit stop by the 05 team. Get Ethan Kurtz up into this mix, and again, started 33rd after running in that last chance qualifier, and here he is now in 5th place after being involved in a couple of accidents here tonight, none of his doing. So Ethan Kurtz obviously having a very good rebound from earlier in the race.
Yeah, I think from the day that he's had, you can't really complain too much about what where you are right now. So I gotta say, nice top. Hopefully, he can keep it in the top 5. But he's got a lot of really good guys to race against.
All right, so we saw Greg Evans slowing up just a little bit in comparison to Mike Kelly at the end of that run. So we're closing in now, 35 to go. Who's your pick towards the end of this race? I got my bets on Mike Kelly, that number 2 car.
That's a really good pick, but I think I got mine on McBride. He just showed like he had a really good pace and was able to put the car where he wanted and able to just get a good run early on. So I'm going to say he's got a good shot of it. This doesn't have the track position at the moment. He got put back in 3rd, but I think he might be up in the front sooner.
Yeah, Rhett McBride also won the 2nd heat last week at Daytona, so as we were saying earlier, it seems like the finishing order from last week is pretty much translated almost directly into the finishing order, or at least the running order this week. And McBride has found himself kind of in the catbird seat behind the duo of Evans and Kelly here with now 35 to go.
Yeah, I mean, really just your skill as a driver in general just really tends to show. People don't get. I don't think people get enough credit on super speedways because, as you're saying, you do see some of the same names up towards the front, and it's just smart driving, knowing what you're doing, knowing when to do what, and just good race planning. And it really takes a good driver to be able to do all those things. So that's why you're seeing some of the same guys up towards the front of the field. Notably, also the 76 of trying to get the name Rick Thompson. Still trying to get the names together on week 2. Last week's winner, he's going to be up for a wave round. This should put him back on the lead lap.
And there he goes.
Yeah, he's going to go at a slow pace, and behind him is up the 03. Yes, the 03 of Nathan Bowers. He's going to take the second. He's going to take another, also take a wave round. Yeah, that's going to put him, I think, 2 laps down, back to 2 laps down. So, unfortunate day for Rick Thompson. Not the day he would have liked. But,
well, considering the accident he was involved in earlier, it's amazing that he's even still running.
Yeah, so far right now, Greg Evans in 1st, Mike Kelly 2nd, Rhett McBride 3rd, Timothy Johnson 4th, and Ethan Kurtz all the way up into 5th. And we've got a good group of guys up front. They had a hell of a race in that last green flag run. Hopefully they can get a nice clean 34 lap run to the end, and this should be a great ending coming up here.
All right, so we are working our way towards the finish of this race. And we are now working lap 100, and as we come out of turn 4 now, Greg Evans is going to lead the field back to green. Mike Kelly in the 2 going to be behind him, and we'll see if Mike will try to get a jump. It seems like the leader in the single file configuration has worked out, and again, Evans gets a pretty good restart, and very orderly this time through.
Yeah, everyone seemed to get going pretty well so far, and it's single file up towards the front, although I feel like that's going to change on the back straightaway. You see McBride, Kelly all having really good runs there. It seems like the 05's fallen, and 05 and Perry has fallen a little bit back, so the top 4 on a little bit of a breakaway at the moment. And McBride's really charging hard on Kelly, and he's going to look to the outside just a bit, but not close enough to get the run done.
Well, it's orderly for sure, but that doesn't mean we're short on action here. Wow, look at McBride really driving in deep into the corner now, running that middle lane. Can he get to the rear of Kelly by the exit of turn 2? He does, but can he get a nose in? No.
Yeah, I think he's trying to find. He knows that he's faster than Kelly and wants to try to get around, but and so he can have a shot at Evans. But Kelly's putting up a hell of a fight so far. And Kelly's right on the back bumper of the leader Evans in the number 7 Chevy. See Greg Evans starting 6th, running in 1st. He's been at the top of the field all day, but he's under threat right now by the number 2 Fusion right behind him, and that's taking up pretty much all of his mirror right now. See, Perry in the back is looking to the inside of the 05 of Kurtz there. He seems to have found his momentum back, and he's going to take 5th place at the moment.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Perry slid back this far. I mean, he was top 2 earlier, and I'm not sure if it was the contact with McBride that kind of rattled his confidence a little bit, but he slipped back, and this is about as low as we've seen him all day, so I do expect him to come back forward a little bit. Now he's getting close to working over the rear of the 28 of Timothy Johnston.
Yeah, he's catching up quick, and I'm pretty sure these guys are teammates if I'm not mistaken. don't have that.
No, that's your job, but you obviously weren't set up, obviously, because I didn't even expect you to be here, so this would have been a very unfortunate broadcast without it. I was struggling.
But yeah, here comes the 13 all over the back of the 20 of Johnson. There's nowhere to really go. And you see the 93 and the 05 have found each other yet again. McQuistion and Kurtz having a great battle. McQuistion seems to be taking it over the 05. Those guys both have damage, but running really well in the top 7.
Now Perry side by side with Johnson down the back straightaway again.
Yeah, Perry looks like he seems to have a pretty decent car, just not the track position to do it at the moment. Even McBride has fallen back a bit at the moment. So right now it's pretty much between Evans and Kelly up in the front of the field. You can see Perry gets a great run down the straightaway and looks like he'll clear that for 4th place. Yeah, Kelly has just been there all run, and these two guys are separated from the rest of the field. But you know, you gotta. It's one thing to follow the guy. Sooner or later you gotta get around him. And I wonder if Kelly's just trying to wait for that and just save his tires at the moment, or if he's really pushing hard and just not able to just get enough to get around it.
Well, Kelly was chasing down Evans there on the old tires at the end of the last run, so I think he might be a little bit better at conserving them than Evans, but I don't know if you can really wait too much. I mean, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, about 20-something laps to go, and it's go time now at this point.
Yeah, pretty much, and I mean, we're going to keep an eye on this. It's been a great battle so far up front with these guys. And even right behind that giant Gackle for 3rd, pretty much, the 5-way battle for 3rd place. You see Perry's caught all the way up to the back bumper of McBride. McBride not getting going as fast as I thought he would.
All the way back here this is for 14th, Adam Jersky, Brad Collins, and Tim Stillman. Look at Stillman, still battling for 16th. He was involved in 3 or 4 wrecks that weren't of his doing today. And he got a pretty mangled Ford Fusion there with Rigshare on the hood. And very good rebound for that number 6 car.
Yeah, well, you can see all the cars around him pretty much have damage in some way, shape, or form. But great job by Tillman to keep that car going. And they're going to be side by side, really close together. These guys are not giving up no matter how damaged their cars are. And Tillman seems he's going to get around Collins for 15th, and he's going to look to the 69 ahead of him for 14th position.
Let's jump back up front. The lead is shrunk down to about 1/10 of a second, and we're getting down, like we said, to the nitty-gritty, and Mike Kelly is on the offensive. Evans is on defensive at this point.
Yeah, I wonder if Kelly's just trying to play mind games at this moment and just try to take up that entire mirror of him, make you panic as the leader. And it's happened to me many times, and it really takes a good driver to try not to choke under this immense pressure being in the lead. He's going to take a little bit later of an apex coming out of the corner. You see these guys both using different runs, different lines going into the corner, just by a little bit of variation. They're both mainly taking the bottom. You see the 2 of Kelly just go a little bit closer to that white line, and it's kind of unclear if that's really helping him at the moment.
We got some lap traffic up ahead here that's going to factor into this
really
mess.
Slow. Wow.
That's 46 of Fred Thompson, but he'll stay well clear. But that doesn't mean that didn't give Mike Kelly a great opportunity to get back closer to the rear end of Greg Evans in the 7.
Yeah, I think the lap traffic has definitely thrown an element into this. You see 2 separate battles right behind for 3rd, 4th, and 5th and 6th. We can see, whoa, that was really close, and Perry's going to have to lose all his momentum over the 8 car. And McQuistion, who has actually seemed to get around Johnson, has got passed by Johnson yet again. So these guys are going to be running now 5th and 6th at the moment. But yeah, meanwhile up front, these 2 guys are as close as they'll ever been between Evans and Kelly. Really need probably an abrasive at the moment to separate these 2 guys apart. Kelly's just been right up with him all run. That's what you gotta do. Keep up with the guy in front of you, but sooner or later he's gonna have to make that pass.
Yeah, as you were saying though, Kelly's holding a tighter line through the exit of the corner, and Evans is letting the car drift up a little bit, but I'm not sure if that's to avoid choking off the momentum, or if that's more of a chronic understeer kind of handling situation right now.
Well, Kelly's going to look a little bit to the inside. He doesn't really have much of a presence, but he's going to make it work. He's going to charge it up to the inside. These guys are going to be side by side, and it looks like Evans is really struggling on that outside for a bit. And Kelly's going to have a huge run, good exit out of that corner. These guys are going to be side by side at the line.
And Kelly actually led that lap.
Just by a nose. And I think he got a really good shot at taking the lead here, but Evans is not giving up at all. He's going to continue going the outside, but I think right now Kelly is clear for the lead.
Yeah, Evans understeered a lot out of turn 2 there and struggled to keep that car under control, but looks like Mike Kelly will inherit the lead over Greg Evans, and that battle seems to have sorted itself out. But as we move our way through the field just a little bit, Dwayne Culberson, as we checked in, obviously had a good run at Daytona last week, but now running 10th, and this is actually not a bad... Oh, whoa! He's out of control, and he's crashing on the front straightaway. Caution is out with 20 to go.
Ooh, that's really threw something in there. That's really unfortunate. Just a bad day gone worse for Culberson. He's been struggling with handling with that car ever since he got damaged, it seems. And it just it just snuck up on him, and that's really what's happened to a lot of the drivers tonight.
Well, I was just saying how good of a rebound it was after getting that damage earlier in the race, but that's the classic SimTV curse there. But this is just, yeah, this is what we've been seeing a lot tonight. Just gets loose out of the corner, overcorrects, and spins to the outside wall, bounces off the safer barrier.
Yeah, I mean, once the car gets loose, there's very little you can do as a driver. I mean, that was pretty loose looking at it. I don't think there was really much saving it for there. So, unfortunate. I wouldn't say end to his night, but it's definitely made it a lot worse and a lot harder for him.
He actually has one of the better... Excuse me. He actually has one of the better looking cars in the field if you compare it with all the cars he's running around.
Yeah, so you see just a little bit loose, tries to save it, overcorrect, and ooh, almost took out that car that went right in.
Ritchie in the 72, I believe. Yeah, Jack Ritchie.
Got barely got around there. So Culberson's gonna get that going underway. So we're gonna see, does anyone want to come in for tires? And by the looks of it, I think everyone will, and I think you're kind of a fool not to. Unless you are further back and you want to really play a wild card, be my guest, but I think the call right here is for fresh Goodyear tires.
Yeah, apologize for the sniffling and sneezing over here. I am not doing too good, so we're trying to get through the rest of it. I'm really glad you showed up, because this would be very bad if you didn't. So 19 laps to go. We'll probably be a little bit closer to 15 by the time we restart this race, and that'll be a dash to the end. But Mike Kelly's got the lead down on pit lane, and we'll see who comes out on top this time.
Yeah, it's really, again, like I was saying last time, I thought last time would have been probably the final stop, and it looked like it was, but now it really, just no mistakes. You got to just have the best pit stop and just hope for the best. And we're going to see these guys are going to come out of their pit stalls, and who is going to be first. And
yeah, it looks like the two will hold on to it, and
wow.
Evans will take home P2.
That was really close between Evans and McBride. McBride's just going to fall back to third. McQuistion got a great stop. He's up to 4th place.
And Timothy Johnson blew through his pit stall just a little bit, had to reverse a bit, and lost a couple spots there, so that's why he slipped to 7th.
So your top 7 pretty much same as they were before, a slightly different order toward the back of it. And we also got Brian Bliss in the 18 and 8th. 72, Jack Ritchie.
Wow, he avoided, he got really lucky avoiding the spinning number 1 car, and here he is running inside the top 10. That is about as good as a sequence of events as you can have there, considering.
And even the 71 of Gale Brooks, he showed to be a pretty good car up ahead. He had that unfortunate accident that happened to him earlier, and he's rebounded quite a bit. That car looks really clean for some of the cars ahead of him, so we'll see what he can do with that track position. And actually, even if we go one more behind, Tim Sullivan somehow in 11th place after all that damage. That car, I would say, put that in the hauler, but he's doing a great job. He's somehow in 11th. And I'm not entirely sure if he can keep it there. He's missing entire back panel, but he's going to definitely try, and props out to him.
Yeah, Tim Stillman, obviously a great recovery here. Don't want to jinx him too much, though, because we know how quickly things can happen here. We were just talking about the number 1 of Dwayne Culberson, so it looks like he's got some of that damage repaired. We'll be back out on track in 19th.
Yeah, so he'll finish in the top half of the field, but definitely, I think, looking at his progress earlier, he definitely wanted to and definitely could have finished a lot higher.
Adam Jersky in the 69s had come down pit lane a couple more times and still got some aero issues there, I would call that. That's not the new downforce package. That's the result of a rough night. The
only bright side to that is that you're getting a lot of cooling to that engine, but I think it's a little bit overkill at that point.
Yeah. So through turns 3 and 4 now.
So we saw Mike Kelly was able to charge up and make the pass, but now it's going to be a question of, we haven't really seen him in the lead for quite a while, so now it's going to be a question of if he can maintain the lead and hold off the charging Greg Evans and McBride behind him. And honestly, I would throw McQuistion into the mix. You know, he's just appeared almost out of nowhere, out of thin air, and wants to battle up with these guys, and he's got pretty good track position to do it.
And the quickest lap that we've seen so far is actually, upon first glance here, is Greg Evans in that number 7 at 29.945. And it's quicker than the two guys that are around him, Mike Kelly and Rhett McBride, and only by a couple hundredths. But certainly we'll keep that in mind as we're going to restart here with 15 to go.
Yeah, definitely expecting to see a hell of a race between the top two and even the rest of the field. These guys who are racing right now have put on a fantastic show, and I think this is the racing they were all looking forward to at the start of the night. Alright, so we got to look through the field. You got Mike Kelly in first, Greg Evans in second, Rhett McBride in third, Travis McQuistion in fourth, Greg Perry in fifth, Ethan Kurtz in sixth, Timothy Johnson seventh, Brian Bliss eighth, Jack Ritchie ninth, and Gale Brooks rounding out your top 10. And for what is hopefully the final restart of the race, as we got 16 coming to 15 laps to go.
Pace car is going to pull off. Mike Kelly is in control of this restart. Green flag back in the air, 15 to go for the CJAutoPA.com 200 here at Chicagoland.
And Kelly got a fantastic start there, and so did Bliss. He's gone right over the back bumper of the Timothy Johnson. As Perry's going to look to the inside, but he's going to lose a little bit to Ethan Kurtz, and Kurtz is going to have a good run on him. And here comes McQuistion up on looking to the inside of Rhett McBride, and he's really, that Toyota's come to life. And he's good in that Craftsman Toyota. He's going to try to throw his car up into the next, and he's also got to hold off charging Gabriel Perry, who we've seen in the past has been able to charge up there.
Travis McQuistion was not a factor for most of this race, so this has turned out to be a very good night for him, as Gabriel Perry is now going to look to the bottom, but tough to do anything with it at this point.
Yeah, I think that middle line is definitely the more preferred line than that complete inside line, as we've seen so far. Here comes Perry up on the inside yet again. He's going to try to make a. He's got a pretty good run so far, and it looks like he might make the move work on McQuistion, and he does. And he's going to move up into fourth place. And up in front ahead, we see two similar cars breaking away, although in a different order. Here comes Perry again to the outside of McBride. We got a hell of a run of McBride as well. I don't know where if he like slap tape on that thing. It's not possible with the fixed setup.
He is on a mission for sure.
He looks like he's got more power in here. 7 a little bit loose there of Evans. He's going to lose a little bit of a run to Kelly, but these two guys are up together like glue, just like they were in the last run.
McBride and Perry side by side again. This is how they got themselves kind of in a pickle earlier in this race, when Perry kind of tried to do a slide job on McBride, or was it McBride on Perry? Where things got a little bit sketchy there for a moment, but Travis McQuistion, or I swear to God, I'm so sorry.
Usually I'm the one to screw up the name.
Yeah, it's just I'm not having a good night. Travis McQuistion. I forgot what I was saying, but he's doing good. He's doing real good.
Yeah, he's really giving McBride, I think, a lot of pressure right here, and these two guys have been having a great race, but Perry's up to third. I don't know if he'll really be able to do it. He's quite a bit ways behind Evans and Kelly with 2 little laps to go as the ticker ticks down to 11. And I don't know if he has enough time to get back up there, but if anyone's got a shot, it's Greg Evans in that number 7 up ahead.
Yeah, Perry ran a little bit higher line through there. Not sure if that was on purpose or if he was understeering, but he's 7/10 behind the leader. We'll keep an eye on that gap as the race starts to wind down. We're coming down to 10 laps to go here at Chicagoland, and the gap between the leaders is 2/10, 1/10 now. Evans got a great run out of turn 4 and might challenge Mike Kelly here before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, when you're the guy behind, you get a little bit of a draft, not too much down the straightaway, but you know, every little bit helps for these guys. And looking at the last time by, Greg Evans was a little bit slower than a 10th faster than Kelly in front of him. And Perry actually the fastest of the 3 of them, so he's coming up but a little bit slow as there's a lap car on the inside. Kelly has to go high, but here comes Evans with a charge. He's going to look to the inside quarter panel of the 2 of Kelly right ahead, and these guys are going to be side by side at the line, coming to 10 to go. And 9 to go, and here comes Evans up the inside, and I think that lap car is really all Evans needed to make that move.
Well, don't look too far back. Perry has chopped that deficit in a quarter. Now 0.2 of a second behind as Greg Evans goes to the lead, but Perry consistent. Oh, caution is out here with 9 laps to go.
And that pretty much changes everything, as the 25 seems to be involved of Dan Barone, and we got to look back to see what happened to him. seemed to be running on the apron. I'm not sure if he's just trying to let everyone by or not.
I don't even know if this was the car that caused the yellow, but
he was at a stop, and I'm not sure he was the other way.
Oh, yep. Yep, this must have been it.
And that...
Yeah,
yeah.
It must have been what triggered it.
That's a little unfortunate that that kind of ruined that battle just a bit, or might have spiced it up, we don't know. So, I think every crew chief probably just threw his notes out the pit box, so you got...
We're going to be 5 laps to go or less when we come to the restart here, Finian, so we only got a couple laps in, but actually how many laps do we have on these tires here? 10 laps.
Yeah,
so
it's quite a bit of wear, but I mean, again, you got to consider if the guys behind you don't come in, you're going to be finding your ways back. See everyone passing the pits.
Anybody bite? Yeah, Perry does.
And a lot of not taking. Everyone shaking. Everyone checking the last session. The last second, Timothy Johnson's going to lead.
Okay,
everyone
hold on. We need to look at that. That was
down
awesome.
Into the pits. Yeah, that was a hell of a fake by everyone.
Watch this from Timothy Johnston's nose.
See, everyone, it looked like the entire top 3 was, or sorry, the top 3 on back, third on back was going to come down. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th decided nope, and 6th on back it seems came down the pits. So actually, a few guys did decide to stay out. So this just made everything interesting. We're gonna have some guys charging up to the front. I don't think the guys up front. You see, ooh, it's Silman. I don't know who that was. Is that Kurtz? Yeah, it was Silman and Kurtz dooring each other. I think they took 2 tires. We can get the pit stop time.
Yep, we'll take a look at that. And yeah, there's definitely 2 tire stops. So,
oh boy.
So Timothy Johnson went from, where was he? He would
3rd.
have been 3rd to 12th.
Oh, sorry, he wasn't 3rd. He
5th.
was 5th. Yes.
5th to 12th. So loses 7 spots, but he'll have a fresh set of Goodyears. I just don't think that there's enough laps left to charge all the way from 12th spot.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, he does have some silver cars with some damage ahead of him, but I think I want to say it's not the right call, but you know, it's kind of hard. You know, in that split-second decision, you got to make a decision, and that's what he chose for. We'll find out in a few laps if it was the right one. I don't think he'll catch all the way up to the top 5, but he might be able to recover the position he had.
And Rhett McBride almost completely successfully faked out Gabriel Perry there. McBride was looked like he was extremely committed and almost dragged Perry down, but didn't quite fake out Perry enough, so he'll remain 4th for the restart.
Yeah, Perry was really, I really could have sworn that Perry would have come down, and the top 2 would have been done for if everyone behind came down, but some guys decided to stay out, and quite a few. And actually, let's run through everyone that decided to stay on that. So we have Greg Evans, Kelly, Perry, McBride, McQuistion. I almost said McQuisition like you did. Yeah. And in the top 5, those guys have not changed at all from where they were running. And then we have Gale Brooks in the 71, who was a strong car looking earlier. Calvin, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Filarski in the 39. Brad Collins in the 67. Andrew Cardinal, who was having a pretty bad day so far with some damage to that car. He's going to be up in 9th. Ethan Kurst, it was, I think, one of the first cars to come out of the pits, just ahead of Tim Silman, as they were dooring each other down the pits. And those 2 guys are going to be on 2 tires, and everyone past Timothy Johnson's pretty much on 4 tires.
Yeah, so our top 9 all have 12-lap old tires, and everyone else has fresh ones. If I were a Perry, I would have made that move, because you would have been forcing the hand of those other 2 drivers to drive extremely defensively, because you could easily come from 3rd or 4th with fresh tires. I don't see it coming all the way back from 9th. Yeah,
but the thing is, I think Perry just saw those guys. I mean, Perry looked like he was committed to coming down pit road, but he saw the 2 guys behind him jump out, and he didn't want to be left out of the mix, so he decided last second, I'm not going to do it, and he's going to hold 3rd. So the top 5, I think, are pretty much the guys who have the best shot of it at the moment. They've shown the most pace, and it's going to come down to the end. It's just a matter of who, but I would put my money on it being either Kelly or Evans, maybe even Perry too, but he did have a great run that last time by. But I'm not sure if he has enough time to get up there.
Well, I would bet that this next 4 laps is going to be extremely interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah, Evans has got to watch his mirror like a hawk. And Kelly was leading there, but just that lap car tripped him up. But we saw he had the pace to get up there and catch, but he's only got actually 4 laps now it's coming down to. So he's only got 4 laps to make the move work, and he's going to be pushing on all 4 cylinders. Which I should say, I don't know why I said 4.
All 4 tires?
Sure, let's go with that. But he's got to be giving it his all at the moment.
Well, I think the battle up front here is going to be what we're going to be forced to watch as we come to the restart here. 4 laps to go in the CJAutoPA.com 200. Green flag back in the air here at Chicago.
And Evans backed them all up. Everyone's getting backed up, and we got some carnage behind.
And caution's going to, if it doesn't come out here, I'll be amazed.
Yeah, they seem to keep it straight, and caution is out, and I think that's going to be race over.
That should be. And we'll take a look at the replay, what caused all this. And then we'll go over your finishing order here. But it's the 67 of Brad Collins here, and then Filarski. But it started to check. Everyone started to check up here.
Yeah, I think the problem it's kind of just an iRacing problem. Not really anyone to blame here. It's just everyone starts to go as soon as they see the car ahead of them go. They start going, and then everyone starts to brake, and it all just gets accordion up. You see this time and time again.
I'm curious to watch the 7 car from a different angle here to see if he checked up the field, because it did seem like they were coming down slower than they had in the past. So we'll get a better look at this here from another angle.
I mean, from the looks of it, he kept his race pace. It's just everyone started bunching up behind. And as guys, you can see the 2 started to get just a little bit closer up, just trying to get behind him.
Yeah.
13. And guys behind just mistook that as them starting to, the leader starting to go, because again, it's kind of hard to see out of the front car ahead of you. So you just start seeing him go, and you go in reaction, and everyone just starts piling up into each other. This is just an unfortunate accident. But I definitely can't argue that Greg Evans didn't deserve this. I would say between
worked hard for it.
Yeah, him, Kelly, Perry, and McBride, definitely those guys, definitely either one of them deserve to be in the winner's spot. But Evans just caught it just at the right time.
Yep.
And solid day by him.
And I think upon review of that incident, Evans didn't change his speed. It was more the other guys trying to get a jump on him from behind that stacked everybody up and led to that final accident. So we will get the white flag when we come back, but as long as everybody keeps the cars running, Evans will be your winner.
Yeah, I'd imagine these guys have enough fuel with the pace laps involved to keep it going. See the wave around.
It's a 50 car, and that would be I should know these names. David Leclerc, that's right.
So he's going to take his wave around. He's going to be still in 20th position.
Well, tonight was a trying time here for this race. The first 1.5 miler, we knew it was going to be challenging with the surface and the large field, but had a couple stretches of some really fantastic racing, especially up at the front. And next week we head to Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee, and we'll go short track racing there. Bumping and banging, and hopefully in a more controlled environment. But we should get the white flag here this time by, and Evans, as long as he can make it back around to the checkered flag, will be your winner, but we're not going to call it till the race finishes.
The SimTV curse is large and looming.
Yeah, it could blow a motor. You don't want to be that guy.
Spontaneously combusted motor, yeah. I don't think he wants that at the moment. But actually, you know, I'm just looking right now. We got the seventh place car. Tim Silman. How the hell did he end up in 7th place?
That's
just pure luck and just good timing. I mean, being like luck as in being at the right place at the right time.
That car is absolutely destroyed, and Tim has done a pretty excellent job of keeping it in the fight after being involved in probably about 3 or 4 accidents, none of his doing.
But it just happened. It just all started with that wreck involving Culberson and him, just with that netcode issue.
Look at all these cars that are just absolutely destroyed, though. Back towards the rear of the field there.
We have the modified category.
Yeah,
in the back.
That's the 67 of Collins. That's also got the nose piece missing off that car.
Yeah, there's unfortunate damage to some of these guys. Definitely looking for some better times next week. But the one guy who's gonna really enjoy this week is that number 7 car, Greg Evans. He's gonna come out at turn 4, and he's gonna take home a well-deserved victory here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, Greg Evans will take home race number 2 here for the Rigshare Fuel Cup Series. Mike Kelly, Gabriel Perry, Rhett McBride, Travis McQuistion, your top 5. And Evans is going to have to enjoy this one because that was pretty hard earned there, and had to go out and just there and take it from Mike Kelly. And looks like he is going to be pretty satisfied with that week, and we see a couple of guys congratulating him here. The 8 of Rhett McBride.
Yeah, everyone. Give it the congratulatory bump. And I think, yeah, all these guys up front had a great race. They all have a lot of... They just show that they all have a lot of respect for each other. And that's what it's all about, really, at the end of the day. So, great run by all those guys up towards the front. Put on a hell of a show. And congratulations to Evans for winning that race.
Whoa! Well, that was almost... That almost wrecked his winning race car, but... As we get back to the start-finish line, Greg Evans is going to burn it down. And he's going to enjoy this one for sure. So Greg Evans victorious here at Chicagoland. We're going to jump to break for just a couple minutes. We're going to get a couple interviews going here, and we'll close off the night and send everybody home. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back here to Sim TV. We're talking now with your race winner, Greg Evans, the driver of the number 7. Greg, you earned that one tonight. Tell us what it took to get by Mike Kelly there in that green flag run and ultimately hold on to win the race tonight.
We just got kind of lucky there. I think Mike was a little better on the long run. We caught a lap car there, and I was able to really close in on him in 3 and 4 and get underneath him. It kind of threw me off because I thought maybe the top line was going to be better in 1 and 2, but he got down around the bottom and was able to hold the bottom and clear them off turn 2, and then after that the caution came out, and had that late restart, and the caution came out pretty early there, so they helped us out a little bit there, because I think might have had a better car there at the end.
Yeah, so tell us about the restarts especially, because we saw the transition to single file restarts, and it seemed to make it a little bit trickier to make up spots, but also cleaned up the racing a little bit. So what's different about a single file restart here than a double file restart in terms of how you want to gain positions in the opening laps?
Well, I mean, it's kind of, you don't really know what to do, because I think everybody's been so used to running double file restarts for years and years now, and got away from single file restarts. In my opinion, you almost have to be more aggressive, but it's because it strings the field out so much more than double file restarts. The leader really is able to get a good jump, and then second and third on back, it kind of spreads us out. So you kind of got to use your stuff up to stay close to the guy in front of you. But I mean, that's part of racing. I didn't really understand why they went to that, but I know that we was having some problems with the cautions, being a new league and everything. So it was good to see the league try to do something to clean that up tonight, and hopefully we get back to double file restarts next week.
All right, Greg. Well, congratulations on that victory. You definitely earned it tonight, bud, and good luck next week at Bristol.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And thanks to FUEL putting on the series, and Rigshare, and thank my sponsor, Duct Tape, Sure Tape. Thank you, guys.
All right, have a good night. All right, now we're sitting with your second place finisher, Mike Kelly, driver of the number 2 Nesquik Ford Fusion. And Mike, you had the lead there for a little while, and you tried really hard to fight off from the number 7 of Greg Evans, but ultimately came up in second place tonight. Tell us about the closing laps to your race.
Yeah, it was going to be a good finish. Greg, the run right before that yellow, I felt like I was a bit stronger, but you never know, how hard he's trying exactly. Wasn't the end of the race, but he was coming on strong for sure, but I was trying to save, what I could, and just unfortunate timing with the lap car there, and I had to hesitate just long enough to try to figure out where he was going to go, and Greg didn't lose any momentum in the deal, and he made a really good move there and got around me, and then I never got another chance to take it back, or try to take it back, I should say. So that was all she wrote.
We saw a pretty intense battle for most of the race, actually, most of the race that was green anyway, between really the top 5 drivers, and it was mostly the 28 of Timothy Johnston, yourself, Gabriel Perry, Rhett McBride, and Greg Evans. What's it like running nose to tail with 4 or 5 other drivers that are that talented for lap on lap on lap?
That was a lot of fun, and except for, hold on here, mic's falling off. Except for maybe Gabriel, I've raced with all those guys before, raced with them regularly, so I'm sure we all trusted each other, and we had a lot of fun. What little green flag racing there was, it was a really good time up there, and it was intense racing, clean racing, a lot of good lines to run. It was a lot of fun, despite all the yellows. It's too bad we couldn't have had more green flag racing, because I feel my car was maybe the best on long runs, but we never really got any for it to show. So it was strong on the shorter runs too, but that was a lot of fun racing, and those guys did a great job.
All right, Mike. Well, congratulations. Second place finish. Not bad. We'll move on next week to Bristol. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, now we're here with third place finisher Gabriel Perry. And Gabriel, you had some moments there tonight that were a little hairy, but you were up front for most of it, but came home just a little bit short of the win in P3. Tell us about your night.
I thought I was running pretty good, to be honest. The yellow flags really killed us. I like trying to get into a groove. Never could really get into that. At the end there, I thought I was catching the top 2. Another yellow came out, so story of the night.
Yeah, so battling there with Rhett McBride there, a little bit of contact that ultimately sent you backward a little bit, but you came home where you kind of ran side by side with Rhett McBride a lot. Is that something you expect to see a lot of this season? Because you were near him last week at Daytona too.
Yeah, definitely. No, that on the front stretch there, I messed up that whole sequence. I got down on the apron, and I couldn't. I didn't know where he was, so I didn't want to come up. And then I think the 7 car got there, and I got into turn 1 too hot, and I couldn't slow down enough. I did apologize to him for that, but no, he's a tough racer. I guarantee I'll see him again.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, Gabriel, and good luck next week at Bristol.
All right, I appreciate it, man.
All right, and we're going to try to interview a couple more guys, but no one else has showed up. So I think one thing that we do need to mention, though, if I can find what I was looking for, that was the broadcast text chat. Here we go. One of the guys that we mentioned earlier that really put on a fantastic show tonight, Ethan Kurtz in that number 05 car, started 33rd and finished in 9th. Really impressive. He was in the Last Chance qualifier earlier tonight and just came home running P9, and he earns tonight's Unreal Esports Hard Charger Award, and I think that is extremely well deserved.
Yeah, and I mean, he even could have finished higher too. Unfortunately, he didn't. But I mean, 9th is not shabby at all, and a great job by him. I mean, from almost not making the show to finishing in 9th is a great job.
Yeah, that was definitely something to keep an eye on. We'll have to keep an eye on him next week at Bristol as we move to short track racing next week, Finney. A little bit different than the 1.5 milers, and we expect to see contact a lot, but I think the lower speeds and the increased grip that you have there will probably lead to it being a very exciting race. But looking forward to the short tracks, we haven't really gotten a good gauge on who's good there yet. But I think these top 5-6 drivers that we've seen so far tonight that were battling mid-race, I think that's the group of guys we have to keep our eye on for the championship.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a fun race at Bristol. Hopefully it'll be nice and clean. Typically that doesn't happen at Bristol, but we never know. So really looking forward to next week from these guys. Some great racing up in the front today, though. All
right, so here from Sim TV, a little bit longer night than we were expecting, and I got to go to bed. I'm tired. I'm also sick. So we'll be back again tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time for the Skip Barber racing. I can't remember the name of the league off the top of my head, but that will be 9 p.m. tomorrow. Skip Barber at Indianapolis Speedway, 35 laps. That's going to be a great one to watch. Then Thursday night, Scars Ferrari Challenge. Where are we this week with Ferrari Challenge?
We are at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park.
That's right, Mosport for the Scars Ferrari Challenge. And Friday night, we have the Hardline Cup Series. And then Sunday, we have 3 wide trucks at COTA.
Yes, we do.
And then back on Tuesday again next week, we will... Actually, Monday night, we have something, too. That's the Drive for Suicide Prevention.
We are very busy over the next week.
Yeah, every day for the next...
Pretty much except Saturday.
Yeah.
So...
No, we have something Saturday, too.
Oh, yeah, we do. Wow.
So every day for the next... Oh, man, this is going to be good. All right,
busy
well...
boys.
Anyway, this is for us to discuss. Thanks for sticking with us. I know it was a little bit longer of a broadcast tonight than we were expecting, but be with us next week here at Bristol, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you next week.